time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series. A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this TGI Mickey Ficky Friday, baby. It's the weekend, baby. And man, I am fired up. We got a great show for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. And man, oh man, oh man, do we have a lot to talk about today. Listen, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at SM_mornings or at SportsZone Shy, at CHI, at SportsZone Shy. Now, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, well, then I guess you found us on YouTube. And if you're not, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching this on the app, then I guess you found us on the app. And if you're not, make sure you download the app. Wherever you get your apps from, Google Play, iTunes, Amazon, wherever. Now, listen. If you want to follow me, just me, personally online, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. My nice and easy for you, folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. Want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai? You can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. And if you're an Niger, just follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. And I want to bring him out really quick because he's got some stuff. He's got some stuff to do, so I don't want to hinder him. He's got some work to do. Man, without him, he is my man. This show doesn't even run. He is my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife. He is the whiz. He is the man behind the curtain, and he is the one that makes it all go. Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa?
Good morning, Shawn. How are you? Because honestly, I know how you felt when we were texting back and forth yesterday. But how do you feel now?
I'm not as crazy angry about it as I was then, but we'll see. We'll see. We're going to talk about that.
Just in my opinion, I felt the same way as you. I was like, "What?" I thought it was a joke. What started as a joke ends in disaster. But it's. I think it could be a good thing for the White Sox, just because we heard certain players speak about holding people accountable, and who better than a Tony La Russa to hold people accountable?
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We're gonna have one of the guys who's up close and personal with the White Sox. We're gonna talk to him in a little bit at the top of the hour. So make sure you stay tuned. Whose jersey I got on? I got the Superbacks jersey, baby. This is custom. It says Sierra 33, Papa. Sierra 33. You want to see it? I'll show you. Sierra 33. That's what I'm talking about. If I wanted to play baseball, I could have. I'm just that great of an athlete. I'm super athletic. I would have been like a shortstop or third baseman because I got stupid range, quickness. Yeah. Yes. Wait, I could have done it all. Done it all, baby. Done it all.
Baseball? You had baseball?
Dude, I was a wizard with the glove. And I stopped in 8th grade, and I was just like, because I like basketball and football. And I was like, I did. But to me, baseball was too boring. That was the issue.
Yeah.
It was too boring. And when you got basketball going up and down the court, football, you can get your head knocked off anytime. Those are a little more exciting. Okay. But man,
three sport Sierra?
3 sports Sierra. In high school it was only 2, but in grammar school it was 3. It was 3. And listen, I forgot to mention it because Vernon got me. He got me started. He threw me off my square. Vernon, what up, B? Listen, we want you to get interactive with us today. So do me a favor. You see my guy Vernon's already. He's up and at him, boy. He's at him with a couple of comments. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, on our YouTube channel, or on the app, doesn't matter. Just leave a question or comment wherever you're watching, and our producer I will put it up on the screen. We want to make sure that you're interactive with us. We want to hear your questions, and get you involved in the show. Now, listen, we have a great show for you, man. Woo! Man, my guy, he's ready. He's coming out. He's lathered up already. He's ready to come out. And that's Joe Phillips. You know how he does. He's gonna sit with us for the first half of Top of the Morning segment today. But at 10 o'clock, or just before 10 o'clock, Ken Davis from that Davis show, he's calling in where he's gonna sit with me for the 10 to 11 o'clock hour. And at 10 o'clock, man, we got Scott Merkin, who covers the White Sox for MLB.com. Got him for man, we have tons of questions, dude. Tons and tons of questions. He's one of the guys. Actually, he asked Tony La Russa the first question yesterday. We're going to listen to that in a little while. And then just before 11 o'clock, Jason Palmer, one of the co-hosts of What's Up, Cuz, one of the hottest shows right here on SportsZone Chicago. He takes the baton and he does the anchor leg from 11 to 12. Then at 11 o'clock, we have our guy. He is back, baby, Phillips from the Tape Never Lies Network. He's coming on and he's going to talk Bears football. We're going to look at some plays from last week, and we're going to look at we're going to talk about moving forward. What do they have to do? The Saints come marching in, and it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. Michael Thomas may be back. Allen Robinson may be out. So I don't know. Who's going to play off? Who's going to play off offensive line? We have James Daniel, who's out. Cody Whitehair is injured. We don't know if he's going to play. Mustafa might get thrown into the fire, which I'm okay with. I'm more than okay with. So we're going to find out. Sink or swim. All right. So 10 o'clock, Scott Merkin, MLB.com, who covers the White Sox. At 11 o'clock, Phil Latoshin, the draft doctor himself, is going to call in, and we're going to talk Bears for the last hour. Woo, Charlie. Did I tell you it was a good show, a great show, or what? Did I tell you, or what? Are we in Chicago, or what? Happy Halloween Eve today for all the peoples in the struggle, and the struggle is real. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow. So are they having Halloween? Are they not having Halloween? Are they leaving bowls of candy out so you just go and grab some, and you got the selfish mugs who are going to take like 5? How's it going to work?
You think this is just the White Sox dressing Tony up for Halloween?
That's funny. That's funny. Well, let's bring them out with further ado, guys. You know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning to you. And these are the hot topics of the night before, or just some sports in general. And boy, oh boy, do we have some doozies. And with that, the Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader. And with that, we want to bring him out. He is the dude over there. He is a sports editor. He is our guy. You can find him on Twitter at ACA Joe. Bring him in, Joe Phillips. Joseph, what's up, Papa?
What's up, Papa? God bless. Good morning to you guys.
How you doing?
Congrats on your new coach. What's up? I
don't know if that's sincere. If you're being a jag bag, I don't know.
I'm always sincere with you.
No, not you. I'm talking with Joseph.
I'm always sincere, man. I try to be sincere. I can be sincere, and sometimes I can be sincerely wrong. So I just want to make sure I give kudos when kudos is due. We called this, Shawn. We did. We called this like a month ago.
Man, remember Bob
spoken.
Remember Bob Nightingale came on the show and told us that first of all, he wrote the story, and that's why we wanted to talk to him. And he came, he said, yeah, it's a strong possibility. And I was like, really? He's like, oh yeah. He said because I said he allegedly interviewed. He goes, no, he didn't allegedly interview. He interviewed. And he said, remember, he said the job is his if he wants it.
Wow.
I was like, hail to the no. Bob. And he was right. That's why he's the best in the biz. That's why we have him on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. He told us it's his job if he wants it.
Well, you guys officially have the godfather of baseball on your team, Tony La Russa, a.k.a. Tony Starks, a.k.a. Tony Maloney.
Tony Stoplight.
Tony 2 times. So, yeah, I promise you this. You're not going to have any behavioral problems out of Eloy Mendez after Tony La Russa watches him play. I feel sorry for him. If he makes some type of mistake in the outfield, I really feel sorry for him because Tony La Russa will chew you out and make you eat your own vomit. That's just how Tony La Russa is.
Well, that's our first top of the morning topic. Tony La Russa is he's rehired as the manager of the Chicago White Sox at the ripe young age of 76. And here's the thing. You know, I was livid, like many people were yesterday. Like if you saw White Sox Twitter, that was a cluster mess yesterday. That was a firestorm. People were cursing all over the place. They were mad as a mug. And I get it. You know, I get it. It was to the point where they didn't even bring in people to interview. Like they didn't bring in AJ Hinch to interview. And they said once they realized that Tony was going to get the job, they didn't want to string anybody else along. I respect that. Remember, they called Ozzie before, as soon as they fired Rick, and said he was not going to be one of the candidates. And then we found out why. Bob Nightingale came in and he gave us the dirt. He opened up Pandora's box and said it's all scripted. So here's the deal. Here's the issue. Is Tony going to go along with that? Is Tony going to go when they say, hey, listen, you know, we want this pitcher to go X amount of batters, you know, and if seeing this guy dealing, does he not listen? See, because remember, him and Reinsdorf are good friends. And Reinsdorf, that was one of his biggest mistakes, he said, was when they fired him 34 years ago when he let Ken Hawk Harrelson fire him. So this is, and let's not get it twisted, this is a Jerry Reinsdorf move. Yeah. And that has ramifications along. Because, Joe, you saw it. Tell me, and I'm going to ask Scott this when he calls in at 10 o'clock. Tell me your perception of Rick Hahn yesterday at the press conference when they asked him questions.
Yeah, it looked like he had 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out.
He was not happy.
He's definitely not happy, but look, let me tell you, can I just be honest about Rick Hahn? He was a Kenny Williams, how can I put it, his protege. Mm-hmm. I remember his first year taking over for Kenny Williams. He was actually talking like Kenny Williams in his first year. I can remember that. And it was to a point where it was kind of annoying. But eventually, he kind of broke apart and stopped building his own identity once he started making his trades. And they were giving him more full control and decision-making. But now we're back to point A. I don't think Mr. Reinsdorf liked the way you guys lost in the playoffs. So he took full control and probably one of his final decisions before he handed the team over completely to, you know,
Michael, his son.
Right. So this is probably his last big move. And I'm talking about opening up the pocketbooks. But as far as that last big move of influence, he wanted to bury the grudge between him and Tony. And I'm not saying there was a grudge there, but I'm just saying that the way things ended. And I know how Ken Hawk Harrison can get. When I found out that he was the guy responsible for fire, I was like, oh, yeah. I know he got a lot of apologizing to do. One thing your organization is known for is for having firecracker guys like Ozzie, guys like Ken. They don't hold to the tongue. So I can only imagine on how that firing went. And then Tony went on to win the World Series with the Oakland A's, and then later the St. Louis Cardinals twice. So, hey, I like the move because it just solidifies that, number one, you don't got to worry about asking questions about cheating with AJ Hinch and Alex Cora. And then two, he's a familiar face. And one thing Lucas Giolito said on 670 Score the other day, he says that we need a coach in here, and this is before they hired Tony La Russa. He said we need a coach in here with playoff experience, veteran presence, etc. So I was like, well, y'all about to get him in the form of Tony 2 times La Russa.
Tony two time. How you doing? Hey, he'll be up and down Little Italy over there out of 24th and Oakley over there with he'll be having plenty of dinner at Ignatz and a whole bunch of different places over there down on 24th and Oakley.
Yeah, and just imagine, just think about it. Also, the Cubs went the same direction with Joe Madden. They kind of got rid of Dale Swain and all those guys, and they went after Joe. Joe's an Italian guy too, who plays no games. Even though he likes to have fun a little bit, but he still looked like Robert De Niro with his black frames on and his crazy. But Tony, he doesn't smile. You know, he has a little smirk on his face, like he's always ticked off. So just imagine the young pups coming up to him, Mr. Tony, can I bat first in the lineup today?
Can I kiss your ring, sir? Can I kiss your ring? Kiss it.
No showboat. You're gonna see a lot of showboat. It's gonna be like Major League, the movie, Major League. You know how they have the old manager, and if you're not hustling, you're sitting down. Trust me, Tony will be on you.
You know, there's a lot going on with that. You know, it's a good and a bad thing. And here's why it could be a bad thing. Let me not say it because we don't know. It could be a bad thing because he's got to be able to relate to these players. He's been out of the game for 9 years. Okay. Last time he managed was 2011 as he hoisted the World Series trophy with the Cardinals. Okay. So he's got the players are different. You know, he made some comments back then about kneeling, and, you know, people have brought that up, you know, and when they asked him, they talked to him about it, you know, he mentioned, you know, he's changed, he understands it. And if you can change, you know, I feel like Rocky and Rocky IV. If you can change, and I can change, we all can change.
That's right.
But
that was the best speech ever. One of the best speeches ever.
That was up there, dude. That was up there.
Cold.
But I think he does realize it's a different world. It's a different game. And, you know, the one thing I was a little concerned when you talked about if it's sincere. Well, these guys are kids and they're having fun. You know, don't stifle that because you're an old fuddy-duddy. And if he lets these guys see, and here's the thing, the one thing that I'm really happy about, and here's why I like the move. You know, I had to let it simmer for a while because my initial reaction, my knee-jerk reaction when I was pissed, I was just freaking pissed.
Hey, when I saw it go across the bottom line,
you were laughing like a son of a gun.
Shot at all like.
You know, so here's why it's a good thing. Okay, first and foremost, he's going to stress the fundamentals. Okay, so if he can get Tim Anderson to stop booting those routine ground balls, you have an all-star shortstop for the next 5 years. For the next 5 years, hands down, because he can get to he can make the great play going to his right, going to his left. Okay, he makes those plays. It's just too often he boots the routine ones. So if he can get him to make those routine plays, I'll tell you what, with the way Tim Anderson hits, now you're looking at a perennial all-star shortstop for the next 5 to 7 years. And second, you're not gonna let him fail. And this is why I love it. I'm gonna ask Scott this question as well. You have to spend now, because you can't have Tony La Russa set up for failure. So you're gonna have to spend on a number 3, a legitimate number 1, 2, or 3 pitcher, okay, for that rotation. Right? Because we don't know what we have in Kopech. If Kopech turns out to be a stud, great. Well, he's a phenomenal number 4. And then Dylan Cease and Dane Dunning fight out for number 5. But you need a legit number 3, because if we had a legit number 3, this could be a different conversation. Ricky might not be gone.
Right.
Ricky might not be gone. So Jerry Reinsdorf has to spend, okay, in order to get this, to get Tony La Russa, to make him successful, okay, because that's the last thing. They're for friends, okay. So the last thing you want to do is bring your friend over and not give him what he needs,
right?
Okay, and what if he says, you know what, I want to keep James McCann? Yeah. Okay, is he gonna open up the pocketbooks for that too? Right. We'll see. So there's money that's going to be spent this year, and it has to be spent because you can't have Tony La Russa come in and in his first year set up for failure.
Right, and at least you don't have to worry about him getting fired. You know, like when he's now that he's taken over, he's actually like the figurehead for Mr. Reinsdorf now. You know, it seems like if just imagine a young GM like Rick Hahn coming to Tony La Russa and trying to tell him what to do. How is that meeting going to go? You know, like you're going to look at him like, kid, you know, I understand what you have to say, but Mr. Reinsdorf will prove this for me. Because that's what the relationship is about to be about from here on out. Like, because they disrespected Rick Hahn the way they did, now they have to reestablish that trust with Rick Hahn. Because now Rick Hahn feels like he's just a puppet.
Yep.
And they're the ventriloquists, which is what it was all along. But for Mr. Reinsdorf to be that bold and that shrewd to come out
overt, yes,
like, that's all you are. You're not my friend. You're just a
my team. It's my team, damn it.
TEAM. There's no I in team, but he said there's I in weird.
But there's an ME, and this team belongs to ME.
So this is a tough situation. It's like a mini soap opera on the South Side, but I believe you guys are going to work it out.
You have no choice.
You have no choice. You got Grandpa Tony. He's going to make sure that none of his moves are outdated, and he's going to have executive decisions on what happens and also what goes past him. Pretty much.
But see, he's a direct rep. He jumps over, he supersedes Rick Hahn, because remember, he's worked in the front office. He just won, he's been, after he retired, he's worked in the front office for Boston, and then I forgot where else.
And
Arizona. There it was. I was gonna say Atlanta. I'm like, no, it's an A team, but I didn't think it was Atlanta.
Yeah, he was retired.
So he was in Arizona. So he has front office decisions. He's made front office decisions, so he understands how the game is played. So does that mean he has the ability to put a game plan together? Because remember, Bob said everything was scripted and it comes from the front office. But because he's got front office experience, are they going to allow him to make some decisions for this team?
Right. And he's definitely, LaRussa is definitely not a puppet.
No.
He's the alpha male in the room. So my whole thing is this. At the end of the day, this can actually be a good thing for future free agents to play for a Hall of Fame manager. They're not going to come over there. Like, say, for example, you guys go to free agency, even though y'all did sign Dallas Keuchel, because he needed his money. But, he fit well into the locker room. He did a great job this season. Now you got to bring in a manager with respect, which is what the Cubs did with Joe Madden. Who wouldn't want to play with a Hall of Fame manager in Tony LaRusso? I'm talking LaRusso. I'm thinking of Danielson.
Danielson.
Karate Kid. But I thought I was going to post a Karate Kid. But at the end of the day, who wouldn't want to play for Tony LaRusso?
It's settled. It's wearing on me. It's starting to grow on me like a fungus. Okay, so we'll see. It could be a good thing. It could be the father figure that these guys need, a very respectable manager. It doesn't mean he can't be fun. It's just that and he could just have those conversations with his team. He can be fun with his team. He doesn't have to be fun with the media. Doesn't have to be fun at press conferences. But behind closed doors, he can be fun with those guys. And here's the thing: have you ever heard of him having an issue with the locker room?
No, that's what I'm saying. He's a no nonsense guy. And one person, I know one team he's not gonna have fun with, and he's not gonna be nice against, and that's the Cubs. Okay. We've been battling it. Like, I think he's the perfect hire for you guys. Being a White Sox guy, knowing the rivalry, he doesn't like the Cubs. He's an old Cardinal guy. We don't like him. So what I'm saying is that he fits that blueprint that Mr. Reinsdorf wants. He'll try to one up the Cubs in the crosstown series. He'll probably show that video of Wilson Contreras flipping the bat from last year in the first day of the preseason. To say, look, let's totally obliterate the Cubs and get them out of the city, and then we go for the World Series. But we just let you know, Mr. LaRusso, we're not afraid of you. We're not afraid of Mr. Reinsdorf, and we're going to have our guns ready for you next year.
I'll never go against the family. I'll never go against the family, guys. I can see Papa Joe. But here's one other question. Again, this is one of them I'm going to pose to Scott Merkin. How soon before Rick Hahn leaves? Or does Rick Hahn leave because of the fact that you just superseded? You just like sit. Basically, you told him to sit. You cut his legs out from underneath him. Okay, you emasculated him. Okay, you allowed him to build this phenomenal roster, and that was all. He'll sit there and say it was all of us, no, but that was his idea. Kenny wanted to keep getting washed up veterans, and Rick Hahn wanted to tear it down to the studs, and he did. And then he doesn't get to pick his own manager,
right? And don't forget, Kitty was doing it at the expense of Jerry Reinsdorf, because he was like, if you can find quality players for cheap prices, he says, when they appreciate, we get rid of them. He said, that's Mr. Reinsdorf model. Even with the Bulls, it's like, as soon as they start playing well, goodbye. You said, we got what we need. That's just like they did with Jermaine Dye the same way. Like, Jermaine Dye at the time, I guess he was coming off injuries and stuff like that. A lot of teams gave up on him, most of the guys in that lineup, it was like that. But because they appreciated and played their best, but at their peak, they got rid of them. You see what I mean? So I'm not surprised with that. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of penny pitching with Mr. Rindorf, because one thing I can say about Mr. Rindorf, he doesn't play when it comes to his money. And he can be cheap sometimes, but for some way and somehow he finds a way to get it done.
Yeah, he does. So we're gonna, like I said, I'm not as angry as I was yesterday. I'm calm, and it actually could work. I hope I'm wrong with the skepticism that I have. I hope I'm wrong, but it has just enough oomph to freaking work. Because if they take to this guy Tony La Russa like he wants them to, then again they're playing under like a father figure and their grandfather figure. And here's the thing, just give them their space, just let them be them,
right?
Let them be silly as long as you're winning. And that's got to be one of his first meetings, is saying, hey, listen, have all the fun you want. You want a bat flip, but don't get pissed if someone else, if Wilson Contreras throws that thing over the stadium, okay? Because if you're going to do it, let them do it. But if it starts to interfere with the fundamentals, then we're going to stop that ish, So he's got to have that conversation. So,
and plus, Shawn, just think of this: you got two grandpas now. You got Grandpa Rossi on the north side and Grandpa Tony on the south side. Hello, Grandpa.
No, you got great grandpa. You might have great grandpa on the south side, dude.
Great papa.
Great grandpa.
You might call him, Nano. Italians call the grandparents Nano. Nana is the grandmother, Nano is the grandfather. So you might have Nano up on the south side. So yeah, but we'll see. Whether we like it or not, whether we're going to keep bitching about it or not, that's what we have moving forward. So the White Sox are my team. I support them. I don't like the decision. I still think it can work, and if it does work, man, I'll be me, along with the rest of White Sox Nation. Wow. It'll be a story for the ages to bring a Hall of Fame manager out of retirement to win a World Series. So we'll see how it plays out. There's a lot of work to do, and we're gonna have to just watch it unravel. Hey, Papa, I know you got to go. We got to take a quick break, but you know what? Thank you for coming on today. I know you got to get some work. You got some work to do, and again, thank you for coming on all week, and we will see you on Monday. All right,
yes, sir. I'll be here Monday, ready to go.
All right.
All right. God bless you.
All right. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. After two straight away from home, the Bears are back at Soldier Field this Sunday afternoon, 3:25 Central kickoff, playing host to the New Orleans Saints. Chicago coming off Monday night's 24-10 loss at Los Angeles against the Rams. Prior to that, they beat the Panthers 23-16 in Carolina. Chicago battling for the top spot in the NFC North. They're 5-2. The Packers just ahead of them at 5-1. Meanwhile, the Saints in contention for the NFC South. They've won 3 in a row, 4-2 overall, behind the 5-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chicago 2-1 at home this season. The Saints 1-1 away from New Orleans. The White Sox introduced Tony La Russa as the team's new manager, the Hall of Famer taking over for Rick Renteria. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I worry about lots of things. My finances, my grandkids.
If you're 65 or older, you have enough things to worry about. Pneumococcal pneumonia shouldn't be one of them. Even healthy adults 65 and older are at increased risk for this potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. Help protect yourself with the Prevnar 13 pneumococcal 13-valent conjugate vaccine, diphtheria CRM 197 protein. Prevnar 13 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 13 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Prevnar 13 does not protect against all strains of the disease. Don't get Prevnar 13 if you have had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with a weakened immune system may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-866-694-9300 or visit Prevnar13.com. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 13.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Remember, our guy Joseph Phillips had to go. He had a story he had to cover, so he had to leave us early. Usually he's with us from 9 to 10. I'm being Eloy today. I'll be like, all right. I can't have anything underneath it, but, you know, today I got my Eloy Jimenez on. Well, so there's a lot. Man, I can't wait. Don't forget, at the top of the hour, we're going to have Scott Merkin from MLB.com, who covers the White Sox. Tons of questions. Tons and tons and tons of questions. So I see the silver lining in this. I see all the positives. You know, I'm definitely an old school kind of coach. But I was an old school kind of coach, but I was able to mix it in with a little flair. Okay. I was very lenient with my guys on celebrating. You know, I coached football, and you know, maybe because I was a defensive coordinator, you always want defensive guys to get fired up. You want them to celebrate, you know, a tackle for loss. You want them to celebrate a sack. You want them to celebrate a big hit. You want them to celebrate a stop on fourth down. And so the enthusiasm for me was key, was important. So it may be the same way for Tony La Russa. Okay, if it's in now, I'm starting to get it when he said if it was in if the celebrations were authentic, then he's okay with it. I want to see, or I'd like to be a fly on the wall when he meets the team, when he talks to Abreu. Because don't forget, I don't know if you guys know this, he speaks Spanish fluently. So, you know, he'll be able to get his point across for the most part, which is good, you know. And I would love to be a fly on the wall when he talks to Jose Abreu, when he talks to Tim Anderson, when he talks to Lou Bob or Yohan or Eloy. Okay, when he talks to these guys and lets them know, hey, listen, you can have fun, but if it gets in the way of us winning, I'm gonna nip that in the bud. And I think that's the way it should be. Let them be them. You know, let them have their personality show, because that's what the game's about nowadays. All right, letting your personality show. Baseball is not like it was in the 70s and 80s and even 90s. Okay, the 90s, I guess you kind of started it when you had Junior and some other people who, you know, Deion Sanders, you know, even though him and Carlton Fisk had issues. But that's when players started to have their personality be seen, where they're able to be marketed. And with the talent that this White Sox team has, they're going to be very marketable, especially in the Hispanic community. And so let them be them. You know, let them enjoy. You know, people get mad. You know, people are okay with Javi Baez. Okay, you know, his swipe tags and a lot of the things that he does. And so, you know what? I think the Sox fans, if the players are allowed to be themselves, I think it's going to be all right. I'll tell you what you're not going to see. You're not going to see Luis Robert cutting off Eloy Jimenez again in left field. I'll tell you that right now. First time it happens in spring training, Tony's going to pull him, be like, hey, don't do that, Ish. Don't do that. Don't ever show up your teammate again. You know, you get to what you can get to, but if it's his ball, then you let him have it. Don't do that. So the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm not as upset with that decision. I'm not. So I'm hoping it works out, and it can. It really, really can. You know, and I'm saying it from my perspective. When I had a whole bunch of young kids who played football a lot differently than the way I did growing up, and you just got to let them be them. And football is football. Baseball is baseball. If you know the X's and O's and you're able, you know, I think he's got a pretty good grasp on the game. That HOF in front of his name tells me he's got a pretty good understanding of the game. and he hasn't been out of the game like it's inferred. He's been in front offices, Arizona, Boston. Okay. So he's in there making decisions. So he's still dialed in to these players. The more and more I am thinking about it, the more and more I'm like, holy cow. Okay. It might not. This is so stupid. It's just stupid enough to work. It really is. And if it does, Jerry Reinsdorf's going to have the biggest smile. He's going to have the biggest FU to all of us. He's going to have the biggest FU to all of us. So what would you do if you're Rick Hahn and you win a World Series in the next 2 years, 3 years? Do you bounce, build another team, or do you stay? Or does it depend on how soon you win a World Series? Because this thing isn't done until you win a World Series. This rebuild is not done until you win a World Series. And once they do, Rick Hahn has okay, I'm done. Sakabo, I'm done. I did what I came to do. And, he may not have liked the fact that Jerry went over his head, and he may want to start, rebuild another team. And trust me, he will have plenty of suitors if he decides to go become a free agent and leave the White Sox. So we're gonna move that clip up a little more, Ivan. So Tony La Russa had a presser yesterday, and he was asked by our guy, Scott Merkin. Scott Merkin had the first question for him, and listen to the question and listen to the answer.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Tony. We appreciate your opening remarks. We've got a lot of questions, obviously, in the queue. So as we said, please keep your hands raised and raise your hand, but also please identify who you're asking your question to, whether it's of Rick or whether it's of Tony. So we're going to go ahead and open up the questions now. The first question is from Scott Merkin of MLB.com. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Tony, how long did it take you to figure out you wanted to do this once you were approached about the White Sox job? And what kind of adjustments do you see, even though you've been involved in the game, what kind of adjustments do you see that will need to be made in your repertoire from when you managed last to now?
I think as far as the timing, I was surprised when I first got the call. And the second conversation, I had thought about it more and had my reservations based on why I retired after 2011, and was challenged about those reservations. And the more I thought about it, and this is like the next day or two, I seriously thought, if you put exactly what I mentioned before, being upstairs for, 9 years, watching the game closely, I've described to my friends as torture, because you're seeing it and you can't do anything about it. So soon thereafter, I realized I was either going to have to stop complaining about being upstairs or go downstairs. And if you're going to go downstairs and you have an opportunity like you have with the White Sox, that's when it got serious. And now, what I expect to change, I think the more you think it changes, the more it stays the same. I watch closely all the postseason. Primarily, it's our team against their team. There's a score. I do think the question that's asked most often is the wealth of information that helps you prepare, and I embrace it. I know our coaching staff will. I think people that watched our clubs the years that I managed know that we were always information seekers. How that factors into game decisions, I think you take the value of that information and maybe have a better chance to put players in a position to succeed. And going to be open about that, but I do know that, and I think I have a good experience at this in the sense that once a game starts, it's a very volatile experience. Players, not machines, how they vary, how the game may be changing within innings, much less game to series. That's why I think it's more important. It's very important that you we use the term observational analytics. Once you got all that preparation, you got to watch the game and be ready to, so I think the difference is the preparation will be better. Looking forward to it, but the actual game decision making will be much like what I learned. You watch the game and figure out how to put people in a position to win.
That clip courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. Sounded good. Sounds good. We have a couple other clips too that he was very adamant years ago about players not kneeling or not standing for the anthem, or he was against it. He talked about it, and he talked about he's changed. He's talked about he embraces that, the fact that players are now more socially conscious, that they use their platform to spread awareness, and that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting how that plays out. Tim Anderson doesn't bite his tongue. I'm not sure how Jose Abreu, if he's the kind of guy who says things behind closed doors. Okay, I would imagine he is, because he is the leader. And I wonder how Lou Bob's going to develop. Once he starts to become the player that we anticipate him being, he's going to be one of the faces of the franchise. Is he going to be an outspoken guy? He's very flamboyant. He's very flashy. Is that going to bring the spotlight on him? Can he handle it? Will he do the best for the team? We'll see. So when those conversations happen, those situations arise, I want to see how it's handled. I'm just not as upset about it anymore. Part of it is because I can't control it. It's too bad. Whether you like it, you don't like it, you're lukewarm, you're all in, you're all out, it doesn't matter. Tony La Russa is the manager for our Chicago White Sox moving forward. And you got to root for the team. You can sit there and bitch and moan about it, okay, but root for the team. Root for the team. Because if you sit down and you think about what this man has done, would you rather have a newbie, a guy whose first time managerial experience to run this team, to lead this ship? Would you? I think all of us would love to say no. Okay. I agree with many people. I think there are other options that would have been better. Okay. But just because those options may have been better still doesn't mean this was not a good option. Okay. It's warming up on me. I'm telling you, it's starting to warm up on me. I was livid yesterday. I just couldn't believe it. And then you sit back and you think, you're like, okay, what does this guy do? He knows the game. Again, that HOF in front of his name means something. Okay. His 3 World Series titles, that means something. Okay. The fact that you've never had issues in the locker room, that means something. Okay. And it's unfortunate for Rickon that he got his legs taken out from underneath him, but that's why you get paid the big bucks. And when you own a team, you can do whatever the hell you want. If you don't believe me, ask Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones got no one to blame but himself, because he makes all the decisions over there in Dallas, and they suck. That is why I say that he's going to spend money, because he's not going to have his buddy, the man he's trying to right a wrong, he's not going to set him up for failure. He's not. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He will I guarantee you, he will authorize more money to go past the budget than necessary to make sure Tony La Russa has a number 1, 2, or 3 starter. Get another guy in here who can be a 1, 2, or 3. Minimum a solid or a stud 3. Minimum. Okay? He's going to give him that. And then, is he going to keep McCann? He knows what McCann has meant to this pitching staff. Does he open the books for McCann? And Ivan, you said it before. Hell, Trey Grandal. I am all for it.
Yeah, I'd move Grandal.
I'm all for it. 1 year, 1 hitter quitter. He's a 1 hitter quitter.
What do you with all the talent you guys got coming up? We keep talking about it over and over and over. On both sides, pitching and hitting wise. Why Why keep a guy like Grandal? I mean, I understand for veteran leadership, but you guys are loving McCann, like the McCann man can, and I feel like if you stray away from that with how good Lucas Giolito has become with James McCann as his backstop, I think you lose something big there. Especially, I think you lose a part of the team that you can't get back. And you signing a guy like going after a guy like a Grandal. I mean, it doesn't necessarily hurt you because he's only there for a year. Like, how well did he really gel with the nucleus of that clubhouse? So I feel like if you want something positive back right away, you trade a guy like a Yasmani Grandal.
That would be great. Or because here's the thing. James McCann wants to start. Okay, he wants to start. So what he brings on the defensive side, what he does for that rotation, is immeasurable. Okay, you talk about what he's the confidence he's given that staff. Yeah, that's going to be a situation where you got to figure that out. What are you going to do? Grandal had, what did he hit? 230 last year. 230, 8 homers, 27 ribbies. All right, 37 hits, 7 doubles. OBP of batting average was 230. His OBP was 351. His slugging percentage was 422, and his on base percentage was 773. So decent numbers. But if he didn't make that pitching staff better, like James McCann does, that's a tough choice. So we're gonna figure it out. We got about 12 plus minutes before we have our guy on, Scott Merkin, and he's gonna come on and he's gonna talk. And man, we had tons and tons of questions. We're gonna move on to the next top of the morning topic. The next top of the morning topic: Trevor Lawrence, the Clemson quarterback, the assumed number 1 overall pick in next year's draft, test positive for COVID-19. Okay. So he will not play this weekend. He is, and here's the issue. Here's the thing that's shocking is various conferences have different requirements to come back. The Big Ten, Mertz from Wisconsin, their quarterback, their redshirt freshman quarterback, Graham Mertz, he had COVID, so he's out for 21 days. But in the ACC, it's 10 days. So I'm a little confused as to why that's not uniform. It's a little scary because what if you bring him back? See, and everyone's worried about, is he going to be back for the Notre Dame game? Okay, you know what? The hell with the Notre Dame game. Make sure this kid is healthy. Don't worry about a goddamn football game.
That's right.
Make sure this kid's healthy. Okay, and if he has to miss the damn Notre Dame game, guess what? He's still not going to drop out of that number 1 spot.
So be it.
Okay, this kid's life is on the line. Okay, it could be. We don't know. Okay,
I feel like it's. I mean, you have to take the precaution. 21 days. That's like. I feel like that's a little much. 21 days. Like why? Like you said, there needs to be some type of uniform. Limit or
quarantine period.
Yeah, quarantine period. Because you can't just one league can't just decide. It'll be a month. Like that's. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of just a random number to me. Like if 2 weeks was the the base number, the number that we've gotten from medical experts, why isn't that the uniform throughout? You know what I'm saying? Like I just
here's why it needs to be uniform, because you're dealing with college kids. Okay, you're dealing with college kids, and they're all going to parties, they're all hanging out, they're all chasing girls. They're all hooking up. They're all doing a whole bunch of different things, and you don't know what the other college kids, the kids on campus, are getting into, and you're around them. Okay, so that's why there needs to be a uniformity, a uniform quarantine period for across the country. Okay, because you mean to tell me that the kids at Clemson aren't doing the same things that the kids at Wisconsin are doing? Of course they are. They're out drinking. They're out partying. They're out smoking. They're out, having sex, unprotected sex, protected sex, whatever it is. They're kids. They're college kids. That's what you do in college. Okay. So their exposure, and when you have a big campus like a University of Wisconsin-Madison, or a Clemson, or an LSU, or a Michigan, or Stanford, there's tens of thousands of kids. Okay, most are e-learning, which helps, but the people you come in contact with, you don't know where they've been. So that's why there needs to be a uniformity, because if something really happens to this kid, something terrible, all right, there's lawsuits that are coming. I'd rather be overly cautious than not cautious enough, because we're dealing with a young man's life here. Okay, usually this is funny. Usually it's about a young black man they don't give a damn about, but now it's a young white dude. Looks like he's from West Virginia or something. You know where I'm going with that. But we're talking about a young man's life, okay, who has the potential to be set up for generations. His grandkids could be set up for generations. So let's make sure that this is taken seriously, and let's make sure if he's got to miss the rest of the season, miss the rest of the goddamn season. Miss it. Okay? The number one priority here, okay, is the health of Trevor Lawrence. And Clemson needs to understand that, because if he goes to number one, you take care of his health, guess who gives a nice donation back to Clemson? Come on. All right, follow the money. Okay, so if he is brought back too soon and something really, really wrong happens to him, okay, if he, where he lives, but he can't play for whatever reason, some respiratory issue occurs, you think he's going to want to donate money back to the school that didn't care about his best interests? Hail to the no. Hell no.
But I mean, they did everything they could. They took him out immediately. He's like he's in a quarantine. So I mean, they've done, from what we could see, everything that they needed to do in order to protect him. I think you're speaking towards the people that think that think that he should be rushed. Oh, they're worried about the games, and you're absolutely right. I feel like if they're able to do everything that they can immediately, like they did, I almost feel like he's in the best care that he could possibly be in, because they addressed it immediately.
Well, we're going to see. I just hope nothing happens to him, and I hope he comes back as soon as he's healthy and able to play, whether it be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. I don't really give a damn. I just want this kid to be healthy, and I don't want the university still, pouring him out. Like, no, get back. Get back in place so we can win a national championship. Get back. No, don't do that to this kid. This kid has brought you a national championship as a true freshman. Okay, this kid is the real deal. Show him that you care about him. Okay, you may not care about him, but pretend that you care about him. Let him believe that you care about him. And if he goes on to start him in the NFL, he's going to give you a nice little donation, alumni donation.
Well, I think it might work perfectly for Trevor Lawrence regardless. I mean, hopefully he gets healthy. You know what I mean? That's first and foremost. But, second of all, he's not – if you think of it in the big grand scheme of things, right, the big picture for Trevor Lawrence's career, he's not taking hits right now. So, he's quarantined. Yeah, his team's going to be without him. But he's not taking hits. His position is being protected as a number one draft pick, because you got to think that's money, Shawn. That is money. 1 to 3 is money, like big money, and there's a huge difference between those three. But there's a huge difference between 3 and 4. You know what I'm saying? From then on and therefore. But I feel like as long as they make sure he's okay, that his respiratory issues, like there's no respiratory issues, there's no lingering effects from this COVID, and he ends up coming out healthy. I feel like it still plays out well for his career in the long run, because he's not taking hits, he's not out there, he's not risking his limbs. And when I mean limbs, I mean is like what happens when you're out on the football field. He's not risking that, and that we see that a lot with guys that want to come back for their for another season. And I know Trevor Lawrence it's his junior year, I believe. Mm-hmm. So like he had no option, but when we also seen guys take off the year, just that's it, I'm done. You know what I mean? Just wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and take my chances at the NFL draft. And regardless of how you see it, I know it's bad for him now, but I hope he doesn't get discouraged, because it's like, dude, you're going to be the number 1 draft pick in the league regardless of what happens here. And, I get you're discouraged. I get you want a national championship, but I hope his mentality is, hey, man, get better. I could get back on the field for my team right now. But think about what's going on in the long run. You gotta protect your health, with as far as COVID, and you got your health being protected as far as you playing on the field in games that I think Clemson can win all the way up until Notre Dame. To be honest with you, without him,
it's going to be fun. And again, for me, just make sure he's okay. Make sure he's okay. So we got, man, at the top, I'm excited to have our guy come on, Scott Merkin. He's going to be on in about 3+ minutes. And, Tony La Russa there's another clip of Tony La Russa where they asked him about the players today. Is that the clip? You got that clip queued up?
No. I was trying to.
Well, Tony La Russa went on and just said, and he was politically correct, when he backpedaled and about the anthem and things like that. And so we'll see. Okay. He still, some people are pissed. Like they still call him a racist and whatnot. It's tough to say, people can change, right? People can change. They don't do it often, but it happens. So you got to give people the benefit of the doubt and let him prove that he can relate to these young guys. Because if he can relate, tell you're going to want to play for this guy. You're going to want to play, for the Godfather, the Godfather of baseball, Tony La Russa. So, I just hope that this situation they meshes sooner than later, and because if it does, man, this White Sox team's got a really, really, really bright future with a leader, with a guy. Now you got a guy who's been there. Now you got a guy who's done that. Not once, not twice, 3 times he's been there. Okay. He won a World Series with the Boston Red Sox when he was in the front office. So he's got 4 rings. Okay. So this guy has done it from the managerial level and from a front office level. So give him a shot. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, on the other side of the break, we're going to bring in our guy, Scott Merkin. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. After 2 straight away from home, the Bears are back at Soldier Field this Sunday afternoon, 3:25 Central kickoff, playing host to the New Orleans Saints. Chicago coming off Monday night's 24-10 loss at Los Angeles against the Rams. Prior to that, they beat the Panthers 23-16 in Carolina. Chicago battling for the top spot in the NFC North. They're 5-2. The Packers just ahead of them at 5-1. Meanwhile, the Saints in contention for the NFC South. They've won 3 in a row, 4-2 overall, behind the 5-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chicago 2-1 at home this season. The Saints 1-1 away from New Orleans. The White Sox introduced Tony La Russa as the team's new manager, the Hall of Famer taking over for Rick Renteria. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I worry about lots of things. My finances, my grandkids.
If you're 65 or older, you have enough things to worry about. Pneumococcal pneumonia shouldn't be one of them. Even healthy adults 65 and older are at increased risk for this potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. Help protect yourself with the Prevnar 13 pneumococcal 13-valent conjugate vaccine, diphtheria CRM 197 protein. Prevnar 13 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 13 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Prevnar 13 does not protect against all strains of the disease. Don't get Prevnar 13 if you have had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with a weakened immune system may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-866-694-9300 or visit Prevnar13.com. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 13.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. I want to bring in my co-host. He's taking the second leg of this show from 10 to 11, and I'm fired up to talk about him. He's from That Davis Show. You can find him on Twitter at That's Davis. Guys, well, bring him in. Kenneth Davis. Kenneth, what's up, Papa?
Really?
What?
Really? The full ensemble today?
Yeah.
Really? This is smoke screen month. I remember you comforted me a week ago. And
I was mad.
We were going at Ivan, and I sided with you, and it was this smoke screen, and now you're in full Sox regalia.
You know why? Because we got no choice. We can sit there and bitch and moan about it all we want, but I'll tell you what, he's our manager, whether we like it, whether we don't, whether we're all in, whether we're all out. You know what? It wore on me. I'm telling you, I was livid yesterday. I was livid.
I will see.
I was livid.
I calmed down, but I didn't put on the whole fit. I didn't put on the whole fit, though.
No, I had to, because I'm like, you know what? These are my guys. You know, I love me some baseball, so I'm like, I got to just so everyone knows. Because I don't like the decision, because I don't like the hire, I still love the White Sox, and they're still going to. Tony La Russa is not going to be batting. He's not going to be pitching. He's not going to be in the field. So these guys still get, when it comes down to it, whoever's calling the plays and making the moves, they have to perform in the field. So.
Hey, I don't like that right there, Ivan. That doesn't feel.
Yeah, that's not cool, bro. That's not cool. Well, listen, we got to bring out our guy, man. I am fired up because he was at the press conference. He actually had the first question yesterday.
Set the tone.
Yeah, he did. Set the tone, baby. Set the tone. That's what I'm talking about. Man, he covers the White Sox for MLB.com. And man, he's a good friend of the program, guys. Let's bring him on. Scott Merkin. Scott, what's up, buddy? How are you?
How you guys doing?
Hey, Scott.
A lot more calm today than I was yesterday. I was hurling a lot of expletives yesterday and throwing things around the house, but I've calmed down, as you can see.
Yeah, it looks like it. I can't speak to yesterday, but you look calm now.
I am. You know what? And here's why. It doesn't matter. He's our manager. He's our manager, and we have to move forward with it, whether we like it, whether we don't like it, whether we're all in, whether we're all out, whether we think it's just a Reinsdorf move, whether it's the fact of the matter is this is out of our control. He is the manager moving forward. Give me your thoughts when it was announced yesterday. What did you think when they said 97-year-old Tony La Russa? I'm kidding. 76-year-old Tony La Russa was named the manager of the White Sox.
Yeah, see, I don't even think the age is that big a thing. I mean, as we see, one of our presidents is going to be either 78 or 74, right? As of the next election on Tuesday. So, I think I was surprised. I mean, I was surprised when Bob Nightingale had this literally minutes after Rick Hahn's press conference to announce that they had parted ways with Rick Renteria. I thought, okay, that's interesting, but I'm sure it's just kind of putting his name out there, getting his name back out there. Although he's done stuff with Arizona and Boston and the Angels and MLB since he left baseball. But I really didn't consider it as, a candidate that was serious, and I was clearly wrong. And even when you heard, rumblings on Thursday night that it was gonna change, that he was the guy, I still didn't, really fully think that he was gonna be hired. But he's the man, and let's not lose sight of this. Whatever you think about bringing him in now to this young, dynamic, kind of, I don't know, is hip the right word for it, but really exciting, energetic team. The man is a Hall of Famer. The man it's not like they pick some guy who, off the street who
Robin
is friends with Robin was a really good player, and Robin had a rough situation to manage. That's one of the things that kind of gets to me is I think Robin's job he did is underappreciated because of the fact that they didn't win and because of the fact that they didn't have the best, chemistry, clubhouse culture at that point, I think. And it wasn't necessarily his fault. I don't think it was a great mix, but that's another topic for another time. But La Russa, is a great manager. I mean, he's one of the best of all time. He's third in wins, 27-28. He won 3 World Series, 2 with the Cardinals, 1 with the A's. He won 6 pennants. I think it was 14 times in the playoffs, 12 division titles. He won a title with the Sox in '83. Now, with all that said, he's got to adjust, and he can talk all he wants about this and that, and he knows this and he knows that. The fact is he's got to adjust. This is not, it's much different even from when he managed last in 2011. Again, I get that he's been right there in baseball for the last, 10 years after he left, or 9 years after he left. But it's different being on the field. And really, it's a players' league. I think it's why you don't see as many managers who are, kind of not above the team, but almost kind of like a beat to themselves, that they're almost, equal to the team on that kind of thing. Tony's going to be a great front man for this team. And obviously, if they win, people still might have, a side eye to it, but they'll be more than happy. No one's going to dispute, and you can easily be upset now about, if you're a fan, if that's not who you wanted, if you wanted AJ Hinch or Alex Cora or Bruce Bochy or Sam Fold or anyone else out there, you can be upset now and still embrace when they win. There's no rules to fandom that you must be 100% in agreement with your team at all time.
I agree with you, Scott. Even though, like I said, my man has on a full Sox outfit over here. It's just a bit a full Sox outfit over here. Listen, I think the thing with me is, one, like last week, we were all having a debate with Ivan, and Shawn was like, it's a smokescreen, and I believe it. Just like you said, I didn't believe. I thought perhaps they were trying to get his name out, and then a few days ago, it was like, no, this is serious. And me being a person of color, it just strikes a bit different, knowing that now that I guess things have shifted when you look back at 2016. And Tony La Russa didn't opt to tell us his feelings on this before getting his job, if he's this defender of sincerity that he was talking about yesterday. And I'm with giving everyone a chance. And I was over it after basically you did your job yesterday and the presser took place, that it's Tony La Russa. Yeah, I'm not happy. I feel like that my feelings were like, yeah, get over it really quick. But I'm still happy that you got a decent manager, but it's just still a distance between how much I care to a certain degree. And I'll have to adjust. I'm not going to bail out on the team, but still, I wonder, and I guess my question for you is this about Jerry. When we talk about this free-flowing team, is this pushback from Jerry perhaps not liking that team as being as free-flowing by getting an old-school manager?
Oh, I don't know about that. I think that's something that Jerry answers. I don't want to answer for him on that. I mean, there's no denying, whether they put it in the press release or not, from Jerry, that Jerry and Tony La Russa are close, great friends. La Russa brought up yesterday that, there were other times they could have hired him and they didn't hire him. So, I mean, it's not like, he was automatically considered every time there was an opening. But they are close friends. Jerry Reinsdorf has told me, and I'm sure others in quotes, that he considers Tony kind of like a brother, So, I mean, this has Jerry's influence on it. I don't know if this would have been Rick's first choice out of the gate. Rick talked about it was a consensus opinion yesterday with him, Kenny Williams, and Jerry to hire Tony La Russa. They feel this is the best to move them to the next level. But, in terms of like the whole thing with Colin Kaepernick and the peaceful protest, here's the deal. The Sox have a great group of young players who are very civically minded, focused on bettering society, not just baseball, and that kind of thing. And they're very well thought out in the process. I don't want to go into specific players because you know who they are, and I don't want to leave anyone out because there's so many across the board. And to be honest, the whole organization, starting with Jerry, is outstanding in that manner. So if guys want to do what they want to do before a game, in certain times, if they want to make statements about what's going on in the country, that is their prerogative, 100%. Now, you don't want to be disrespectful. Tony La Russa is the manager. He's the man in charge. But in the same sense, and Tony La Russa was asked about this later in the interview, and he didn't really give a concrete answer on it. But, he really isn't the barometer of what's sincere. It's up to what the players believe. It's a players' league, ultimately. And I think that's not going to change, and I don't think he'll stand in the way of that. I think if players want to make a statement, they'll be able to make a statement.
Guys, we're joined by Scott Merkin from MLB.com, who covers the White Sox, talking White Sox baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. So what was your give me the barometer that you when you watched Rick Hahn yesterday, because I was like, man, he looks uncomfortable. It looked like he was going along with the company line. And do you think that if this doesn't work out, or maybe even if it does work out, that Rick Hahn decides to leave the organization?
I mean, Rick made it about Tony yesterday, and he made that clear. So whatever his opinions were or weren't on the situation, it was about Tony. So that's not going to leave it at. Again, aside from questions in the conference, I haven't really talked to Rick one-on-one since then. It's easy to say that if things don't work out, you're going to leave, but there's only so many of these jobs, right? There's 30 jobs in baseball, and there's not always a lot. Is there one open right now? There might be more than that. I know the Angels have a GM opening, but it's not like 16 of these come open every year. Rick Hahn is very highly thought of. He's the son my parents always wanted with all his advanced degrees. He went to Michigan. Can't go past that. A bright baseball guy, has worked hard and has had interest from other teams in the past. So it's not like he's unknown, But in the same sense, I think he loves the White Sox and he knows the situation. He's worked, besides being the GM, he's worked there many a year as an assistant GM alongside Kenny, alongside Jerry. So, yeah, I think that unless something really goes awry, I think Rick is going to be the GM and they're going to work, in conjunction. That's the hopefully idea, is that Rick, Tony, and Kenny work together to build a championship team.
Here's why I asked that question, because, for so long it was Kenny. Kenny was making the decisions, and we saw how that worked. And then when Rick actually got basically full control with Kenny's blessing and Jerry's blessing, and literally tore down to the studs and rebuilt it, I would think that he would want to pick his manager to run the team that he built. And I don't know how I would feel. I think I would probably feel slighted that my knees got taken out from me because I couldn't get the skipper for this beautiful team that we have, this unbelievably talented young White Sox team that we have. And the coup de grace, the cherry on top would be to pick the manager to take him in. And I got denied that. I know I might be a little salty. And I'm just wondering how you think Rick feels. Cause like I said, when I saw him yesterday, talking, it was company line. I just did not see him happy. And that was just my own personal opinion, but he just didn't look like that was like he was down with it.
Again, I think it's something that you'd have to ask Rick. It's hard for me to speculate. It's hard for me to kind of read his facial expression. There were times he laughed during this, the Zoom conference too. So I don't think it was like he was, just leaning back and looking up into the sky, like, when is this thing going to end? It was a group thing. Was Tony La Russa his first choice? Maybe not. Just based on what he described to us in that press conference when Rick Renteria got let go. Mm-hmm. But Rick admitted yesterday that once Tony became the favorite, things changed, and I think Tony pretty much became the favorite from the beginning to me. It seems like, like I said, Bob Nightingale of USA Today, great reporter, had this literally, I would say 15 minutes after after Rick's press conference about the changes at manager and pitching coach came about. So it seemed to me like Tony was the preferred candidate from the get-go on this hire. I do say just totally in general, taking Rick out of this, Jerry out of this, Kenny out of this, that if you're the GM, you should be, if the owner or if the boss believes in what you're doing, the boss always is right. He always has the final say, right? Jerry owns the team.
The checks.
Yeah, so that's fine. And he's owned this team for approaching 4 decades now. But, you need to have the GM do his job. And, I don't know where he eventually stood on Tony La Russa on this. It sounds like yesterday in talking about it, the decision made with him and Jerry and Kenneth, this was a consensus opinion.
Real quick, Ken, I want to follow up. We had Bob Nightingale on Monday, and Bob said he came right out and said, because I said, he is allegedly interviewing for the job. He said, no, he's not allegedly. He interviewed the job. He interviewed for the job, and if he wants it, it's his. I was like, get out of here.
Right.
He said, nope. He said, if he wants the job, it's his. I'm like, Bob. I said, you're killing me, Small. He said, nope. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, and he talked to Rick and Kenny right along too. Rick said that it was this past Saturday when they had a long conversation where it really became like, okay, this is the final stretch. This is the guy. Rick said they didn't specify. I wish they would do that. I kind of get what Rick's saying, that, you know, you don't want to have candidate A, B, and C out there saying, well, they didn't get the job. But I think in some cases it's good to list the names out there. Remember the Cubs, when they hired Renteria, I believe they went the other way, and every candidate that was interviewed did a media session after he was interviewed, which is very unusual. That's going the complete different direction. But, you know, Rick, they talked to other people. He didn't say how many, but he did say that once it became apparent that it was going to be Tony La Russa, they moved in a different direction because they didn't want to lead anyone on. And that's, you know, classy move by Rick.
Admirable.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, it does sound like Tony was a guy, maybe they didn't really think that, you know, having been out of the game for 9 years, out of the dugout for 9 years.
Right.
Which Tony said he missed. Tony said that he was looking from above and he, you know, kept thinking about what was going on downstairs. And he said, you either have to forget about it or go back downstairs. So he went back downstairs. You know, 76 years, maybe they didn't think he'd take. I will say this, that I don't think he would have taken any other job. And I don't think any other team probably would have offered him the job. In that case, it's probably a good fit. I think I look at it as a positive as opposed to a negative. This is not a guy being done a favor. This is a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? So let's not gloss past that. Whatever he has to adjust to since he managed it last, it'll happen. But, I mean, this is a guy who is one of the best managers in the history of baseball.
Look, one thing, and you mentioned it jumps out about the presser yesterday to me, is when he said that there are other opportunities for Jerry to bring him back. I don't necessarily see better Sox teams than the St. Louis Cardinal teams over the last decade when he was coaching. And I wouldn't see him leaving an organization like the Cardinals to come back to the Sox. But what I really want to ask you, Scott, is in hindsight being 2020, would Rick Hahn had let go of Rick Renteria had he known he wasn't going to have the opportunity to select the manager he wanted to?
Again, that's a fair question. And I don't, you know, I mean, I think Ricky did a good job there. Ricky, first of all, is a great guy. Wasn't the best quote in the history of the media. I don't think how do I put this right? I don't think he cared. Not that he disliked media. He was a very good man to all of us, just as classy as you can find. But I think he felt like he had other things to do, and being a great quote in the media was not the big thing for him. But I think La Russa will be more of kind of a face of the team than Ricky was. And I don't think it was ever Ricky's desire. He was kind of developing young players there. You know, I think his dismissal was kind of an organizational failure, in my opinion. You know, I mean, yeah, do you put Carlos Rodon, who hasn't pitched in relief since 2015 and hasn't pitched, you know, basically since the first week of the season, is loaded in Cleveland? No, but I mean, that's the guy you have too. You know, I mean, you can't, this is not Joker's Wild. You can't go off the board and pick someone from another team to come pitch for you. You have what you have. You know, they had two good young pitchers in Dane Dunning and Dylan Cease, who will be good in the future, should be good in the future, but they did not trust them, you know, to go deep in game 3 of the deciding game of the playoff series. So, yeah, you can say all you want about Ricky, you know, doing this and doing that. And is he a perfect manager? No, but there is no perfect manager out there. You know, Joe Madden won a World Series with the Cubs for the first time in, 108 years. And there are people who still criticize him for overusing Chapman,
yes,
which
they do.
But there was no one else in the bullpen. I mean, if they didn't have, he basically used 3 relievers in like the last 3 games, him, Edwards, and Montgomery. So that's not the topic. But I'm just saying, even when you win a World Series and a 108-year drought, you're still not, you know, absolved of criticism. So, I don't know. I mean, I think they were ready to make a change. I think either way. Now, the better question, I think, or a different question would be, if they beat Oakland and if they beat Houston, is there a managerial search then? You know, as everyone knows, I'm a Michigan graduate. Steve Fisher replaced Bill Frieder in the 1989 tournament. And to this day, everyone believes that if Steve Fisher did not win that championship, Bo Schembechler, may he rest in peace, who was the AD, would have hired someone else. I think, as a matter of fact, the SID for Michigan said Pete Gillen was the guy. It was a done deal. And when you win the championship, you can't get rid of the guy, obviously, at that point then. You know, he won a national championship. So if Ricky even beats Oakland, or if Ricky wins 1 game in Cleveland and they win the division, is this a different story? I don't know. It's all hypothetical, so you can't say.
Guys, we're joined by Scott Merkin from MLB.com, who covers the White Sox. Talking White Sox baseball right here for another moment right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Scott, this isn't the question. The question is second. But I felt like the consensus was Jerry told them, "Oh, you want to fire Ricky? Go ahead and pick who you want as manager." And as soon as he told them that, he grabbed the phone and was like, "I got your job ready for you, Tony." It's a question, and this team is really good.
Here's what I call it. I call it the Adam Sandler theory a little bit. Stay with me for a second. Adam Sandler made some great movies. Maybe not,
Friends.
no, I mean like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, and I can't think of any of the others. A lot of good movies. Punch Drunk Love. And then I think
Big
he got to
Daddy.
the point where I couldn't get the name of that, where he made a very, very huge sum of money. And it seems to me, I don't know Adam Sandler, but he just said, you know what? I'm going to make movies with my friends and have fun, and I'm going to enjoy life. And if people don't like the movies, that's too bad. We're going to try to be entertaining. Now, this is different because, no offense to Rob Schneider, but Tony La Russa is better than Rob Schneider, obviously. But, I think there's something to be said that, it would probably be a really nice story for Jerry Reinsdorf to win a World Series championship with a guy who he considers his brother, right? I mean, I know that I owned a team and one of my two brothers was the manager, or the other way around. It would be exceptionally meaningful if we won a championship. And he is the owner, so he ultimately does have the final say. And, again, Rick Hahn is not new to this organization, nor is Kenny Williams, nor is anyone else. That's one trait very admirable of this organization, is that it's an organization filled with guys and women who have been there for a long time. So the score, and I don't know if ultimately they thought maybe Tony would say no because of where he had been, but he said yes, and here we go. It'll be interesting though, because there's no Sox Fest this year.
Yeah,
a lot of players talked about that was a time where they got to know each other last year because they had so many new guys. So you wonder if they get a couple Zooms together with the players and the coaches when they have a staff set and Tony, because I think they'd probably rather have players get to know him a little bit before whenever spring training is set to start, as opposed to just getting everything going then. But yeah, that's as much as people look at it as more for the fans, that's a good thing for the players and coaches too, to kind of mingle and get together.
My last question for you, Scott, is one, and we all know he's a Hall of Fame manager. So any other pros as far as having Tony La Russa, because it's not the end of the world. I do realize it's Tony F. and La Russa. Also, has there been any mention about the staff, and also any fear with his age about the COVID reality going into next season? He is a fairly old man. You would hate to see something happen as far as the manager catch COVID, and any preconceived condition could just be basically his age, I would think.
There's a fear for anyone with COVID, right? I mean, I'm 54 and I have asthma, and I fear, when I walk outside and come back in and feel a little bit off. This is an insidious thing, and not just because he's 76. Dusty Baker is 70, 71, made it through the season, knock on wood, very well. Joe Madden is 66. He was fine. So I just think there's a fear for anyone. Yohan Moncada, no offense to any of us, is in an infinitely better shape than the three of us probably combined.
Yes.
And he tested positive in the intake process and told us halfway through the year that he pretty much felt it until the last couple of weeks of the season. He didn't feel right. So I think there's a fear for everyone. Tony had an interesting tweet last night, and he hasn't tweeted a ton over the past, where he acknowledged there were some people who were supportive. There were a lot who weren't supportive. And he said, let's get to work. And that's the best you can do, is just whether people will still think this isn't right, it wasn't Rick's hire, blah, 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 all valid concerns. If they go out and, let's say it's a full season and they go 40-22 in their first 62, no one's going to care anymore. It's all about winning. And I think if they win, everything will be fine. So now again, on the flip side, if they lose, well, then, there'll be a few issues here and there. But yeah, I think he's a very smart baseball man. He's an accomplished manager. He knows what's ahead of him, so he knows the challenges that are there. And I would think that at 76, just as at 54, if he didn't feel that he could handle the challenges of going 162 games and then whatever you go into the playoffs, he would have said no. So if he said yes, you got to believe that he knows what's ahead of him and what's going on.
Great stuff, Scott. Thank you very much. And let everyone know where they can find all your work online.
MLB.com, WhiteSox.com, and at Scott Merkin on Twitter.
Great stuff. Dude, I got like 50 other questions, but I know you got to go, man. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend.
All right. Guys, that was Scott Merkin from MLB.com talking White Sox baseball. One of the questions, Ken, that I wanted to ask him was this. Does that mean that Jerry's spending?
Oh, I will ask that one because that's the positive.
Yes.
Boy out there falling his face, and you want to
bingo.
So you think like now? Can
What
I get
budget? What budget do we have?
Yeah,
We don't have a
so,
budget.
I mean,
It's my money.
You know, you're still gonna get Marcus Stroman though. I mean, you know that's it's gonna be like Trevor. No, it's gonna be alligator arms on the Bauer contract. Even now, because I was reading an article the other day, and his agent's talking about that he wanted to do 1-year deals, but now he's open to taking successive years because the dollar signs are gonna be so nice. Mm-hmm. So, but I agree with you. My thought was yesterday. Well, I know Jerry, even in this pandemic, is going to be willing to open up the purse straps a tad bit more. And I mean, but this also goes to why we say this is a problem with Rick, because it's like, listen, Rick Hahn is talking to Tony La Russa, and he's like, listen, don't worry about that. I got this pitcher coming up. You're just going to play him. And Tony's like, man, I'm trying to win. Green, and calls Jerry.
Hey, Jay.
And
what?
Exactly. And it's like, dude, you always know there's a bad situation where somebody can usurp the steps of authority and go swing around. You see it in Dallas all the time with the players, basically, that the coach doesn't matter because I'm going to Jerry, right? It's funny. I'm going to Jerry, right? Like and I felt like, and it's still going on what you're saying. There is a pro to this, but I felt like Rick Hahn had made himself a made man. You know, like Rick Hahn has made himself where he is, when we can start talking about assets, where you talk about other organizations, be like, Friedman is running this organization. Now, he's not Friedman, but he's putting himself up there to where with those other general managers to where you're like, we got us one of those guys. You know, so he's going to get out thought in a trade. He's going to find other guys in other people's systems. We don't want to lose that guy. And I would hate to, even though I do think the good part about Rick Hahn is he wants to see the kids make it. So instead of fleeing, it's like, all right, you know what? This is in the way right now, but I still want to see what my kids come to fruition and be who they're supposed to be. Then I would think maybe he'll start thinking about other moves, which he may have anyway after winning it all. And I do think, I mean, the chances have increased having Tony La Russa as the manager to win it all. I mean, it's not. I mean, one of it is just Tony La Russa's old and been out of baseball for a long time. Like that's just flat out the truth.
He's not. He hasn't been out of baseball. He's actually been in the front office making decisions.
I mean the clubhouse. I mean the clubhouse when I'm saying baseball, because one of the big things that's changed outside of strategy has just been the attitudes in the clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? And when he's with the places that he's been in the clouds. You know what I'm saying, with the people that don't have to necessarily go down in the clubhouse and rub shoulders and know the athlete of today. So that's partially what I mean by he's been away for 11 years. You know what I'm saying? And even one thing that Scott mentioned when you're talking about a manager that's the face of the team. And this is one of the things I mentioned to you about Ozzie. I don't necessarily know if they need a manager that's the face of the team, because I feel like we would have been like, yeah, we got AJ Hinch. But we wouldn't have been like AJ Hinch is the face of this team. He's the strategist. We would have looked at him at, but we wouldn't have been like, yeah, everyone follows the manager, but it would have still been Jose Abreu's team. We would have looked at it still TA's team. You know what I'm saying? And now, and it's just even from what Scott said, you got one of these old time managers and I heard this on MLB.com yesterday, when the Giants roam the world, you got one of those cats, and I don't necessarily know if this team needed one of those cats. But face it, he's one of the smartest baseball people ever to manage. That's facts. You can't take that away. He was probably 5th on my list. I think
mine too.
He was 5th on my list. I mean, I think that it hurts from the point of, I usually don't go Mickey Ficky on here, but Jerry, listen, I used the phrase yesterday. I did a podcast about this, where I talked about, and I hate to bring this up, Trayvon Martin, when George got off. And I was walking to work downtown, and I was playing Drake's Worst, because it's a line in there when it says, motherfucker never loved us, right? And I always love that line because it reaffirms to yourself, like, don't trust these motherfuckers because these motherfuckers don't love you. Okay, that's my last Mickey Ficky of the day. All right. And that's how I felt what Jerry said to us. And I'm just saying it as a racial component. But even if we take out, because there are people saying this that have nothing, not to say that they don't care about what's going on in the world, but they just felt that, wait, this wasn't the guy. Like, as Sox Nation, you said, screw y'all. And it's like, dude, we've been riding. Like, it's like, listen, it's like me and you are Cody, Shawn, committing the crime together, right? We've never snitched on one another. We have done things for one another that are terrible, but we've been riding. And then all of a sudden, I just flip on you, right? And it's kind of like that. It's like, dude, I've been riding with you, holding you down all this time, even when you didn't deserve it. You didn't slept with my woman, perhaps. You know what I'm saying? Just put it like as far as you know, like the things you.
Oh, you're my Nino Brown.
Listen, exactly. Now I've never necessarily been in this situation, but I'm giving you this preposterous analogy. But just still saying that, it just felt like you didn't care about. We all basically told you no, and you was like, and it's like, dude, I get it. It's your team, but still, it's like listen. Forget this last 4 years, 5 years. Dude, we've been putting up with your lackluster team. And finally, when you get a team that's the sweetest team perhaps since the team before the strike that you manned, you led the strike, right? This is the sweetest team since then, maybe even sweeter when it's all said and done. Then you decide, because you want to play besties, I'm going to sit here and pick and cheer and drop my guy there. Because again, like I was saying with Scott, what is Tony Russo talking about that he could have hired me other times? You weren't coming here. You weren't coming here back when you left the A's to go to St. Louis, and there was no time. Maybe because he didn't like the fact that the team was sold, or there was no time where you were going to pick the Sox and what state the Sox were in outside of if he was coming in 2006. Right? Like, when were you coming? Right? And again, I mean, that's just one of the things when you're talking about going through a presser and you're going to say things that are tongue in cheek. But yeah, I felt like Jerry, he just shit on all of us. And I mean, I'm supposed to get up. Listen, I am getting over it. And I did think about putting on some Sox stuff. And again, I said it was going to be my last time, but then I was like, fuck that. All right. Like, that was my last one. All right.
So here, when we come back, I'm going to tell you why this actually could work. And I thought about it, and it actually could be a stroke of genius from the old man. And we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. After two straight away from home, the Bears are back at Soldier Field this Sunday afternoon, 3:25 Central kickoff, playing host to the New Orleans Saints. Chicago coming off Monday night's 24-10 loss at Los Angeles against the Rams. Prior to that, they beat the Panthers 23-16 in Carolina. Chicago battling for the top spot in the NFC North. They're 5-2. The Packers just ahead of them at 5-1. Meanwhile, the Saints in contention for the NFC South. They've won 3 in a row, 4-2 overall, behind the 5-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chicago 2-1 at home this season. The Saints 1-1 away from New Orleans. The White Sox introduced Tony La Russa as the team's new manager, the Hall of Famer taking over for Rick Renteria. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I worry about lots of things. My finances, my grandkids.
If you're 65 or older, you have enough things to worry about. Pneumococcal pneumonia shouldn't be one of them. Even healthy adults 65 and older are at increased risk for this potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. Help protect yourself with the Prevnar 13 pneumococcal 13-valent conjugate vaccine, diphtheria CRM 197 protein. Prevnar 13 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 13 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Prevnar 13 does not protect against all strains of the disease. Don't get Prevnar 13 if you have had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with a weakened immune system may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-866-694-9300 or visit Prevnar13.com. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 13.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Yeah.
Wait, is this the third costume change or is this the second?
Second.
Okay, I'm the second.
Yep.
All right.
I just don't want a wardrobe. I don't want a wardrobe malfunction. Have my nipple out.
Right. We'll get the FCC all up on our butts.
Before we went to break, we just got off with Scott Merkin from MLB.com, and before we went to break, and I said, here's one of the reasons why this could be a genius hire from the old man. I'll bring this guy up, and I know people are going to have negative things about it, but just hear me out. One of the things that Bobby Knight used to do was take the attention away from his team. He would always do something really stupid. He would always do something really controversial. He would always do something that had people talking about him as opposed to his team. And so they're dealing with him, and Bobby Knight was able to get these teams to play without a lot of pressure because everyone was worried about what he did, what he said. This could be in the same vein where we know he's a good quote. Okay, we know Tony's going to be hanging out, with the family over in Little Italy on 24th in Oakley over there, Ignatz, or somewhere over there, just sitting in the corner, by himself eating, and I think this might take a lot of pressure off of those guys because people are going to keep talking about his age. They're going to keep talking about he's been out of the baseball since 11, out of the managerial spot since 11, but he hasn't been out of baseball since then. So he's actually made decisions in the front office. So I think this could end up being a genius move because the focus and the pressure that would probably come with this team if Rick Renteria was still there goes squarely on Tony La Russa, because everyone's going to ask him, well, how you feeling, Tony? How you doing this or how that and everything? And he's a good quote machine. And him being the face of that could let these guys really play without having to worry about all the pressure that's on them because he's deflected it to him.
This was the same Ozzy argument that I said was necessary. I don't think they need that. I think one of the best things about Tony La Russa is strategy. I think I'm much more comfortable with knowing that if the mistakes that happened in game 2 and 3 against the A's probably wouldn't happen if Tony La Russa is the manager. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I'm looking at having Tony La Russa, and hopefully he's even innovative in the ways today's game compared to how he was back when he was with the A's, how he was with his bullpen. That's really the thing that I'm looking for, the genius. Excuse me. I'm looking for the genius. I'm not really worried about. He will be a quote. I worry though that if he's making too many quotes, and that's the thing, I'm worried about some of the things that he's saying. Especially with this team, because it would seem like some of those things may be somewhat controversial if we're really paying that much attention to it. And that may be a distraction to the team because they'll have to answer the question about this is what your manager said, and it may fly against necessarily what the players are necessarily doing. But I think the positive from what Jerry is doing is looking at this team is this good. Let me get who I believe is the smartest baseball man that I know to come in here and manage this team. I think that's where there may be some genius in what Jerry decided to do.
Yeah, he's got a resume. He's got a resume, and he's won 4 World Series, 3 as a manager, 1 in the front office with Boston.
Full of steroids.
Yeah, hey.
Most steroided steroids is ever steroid with steroids.
Hey, you know what? You remember our conversation last week, fool? You remember? Hey, Nikki, 2 strikes.
Then it gets down into the minor league system. Then you got the Pop Warner kids with the steroids, and that's when you know that a boy is gonna be a man. That's basically, if you didn't see last week's show, that's the gist of the show right there.
It actually wasn't like that, Ken. I think you're exaggerating just a tad.
It was close, Ivan. Ivan, real quick, I want to get your perspective from the outside looking in. Last week, you were the person, we were like, it's a smoke screen, and you was like, man, this is wild. And we was like, don't believe it, Ivan.
Yeah. Don't believe the hype.
Right.
Yeah, right? It lingered too long. And just thinking about it, I'm like, man, Tony is Jerry's guy. And I'm just just mulling on it. I'm like, man, this is a Jerry thing. That was a Jerry thing to do. It had Jerry written all over it. Jerry. But
forgot about that too.
And I was clowning Shawn yesterday. I was putting up Tony the Tiger pictures and shit like that. But to be honest, like thinking about the respect that he commands, thinking about that he is a Hall of Famer, that he has won a World Series, that he has done these things, he's done all these things with he's managed a variety of teams. You know what I mean? Like age wise, it all varied. So I don't know. I don't necessarily think that it's going to be that big of a hump to get over. That is he going to connect with the youth? I just think that he's going to have to figure out a way to make us believe it. You know what I'm saying? He needs to make us believe it because I think he can make that locker room believe. I just think it's the fans, and by making us, the fans, not me, but you guys, believe it is by winning. And if he wins, nobody gives a crap what happens.
I don't think though that he cares about making us, the fans, believe it, because if he has his, and we'll see if he has his team, and he has those guys ready to go to war for him, ready to fight for him. That's really all that matters, because the outside noise is just that, outside noise. All right. And he talked about that yesterday in the pressers. He's talked about building relationships because, there's, and you played sports, Ken, and I don't know what coaches you've had, but sometimes some coaches may have rubbed fans, family, and friends the wrong way. But
rub me the wrong way. Go ahead.
But the players loved him, and the players would do anything for him. And when it's all said and done, that's what matters. It doesn't matter what the media says. It doesn't matter what you and I say. It doesn't matter what the rest of the fans say. If these guys are drinking his Kool-Aid and doing everything he asks, that's all that matters. And if he can get him to run through a wall, we're going to see it. We're going to see it. And whether it's like, listen, you have to, if you don't run, you're getting pulled. If you do some stupid stuff, you're getting pulled. So, I am anxious to see it play out because, again, I just said before you came on, this is stupid enough to work.
I think it's going to work. Go ahead, Ivan.
And that's what I'm saying. It's stupid enough to work, but in order for it to work, you have to see wins in the win column.
Yeah.
That's point blank period. And you're right. All that matters is that locker room follows them. But if that locker room follows them and they still don't succeed, now where are we
at? Wait. I think he'll succeed. But this is the crazy point. The Cubs fire Ricky and get the best manager for today's game to come in and take them to the next step. And we go and bring a dude out of retirement, basically. Because that's so Sox. It's so on point for the Sox to do the thing that nobody in the MLB is necessarily going to do. But this is a little joke I got for you. Now, you remember we were talking a little bit about a week or two ago, about maybe 2 weeks ago, when Aaron Rodgers had scored the touchdown on when he against the Tampa game. He had ran it up the seam, scored the touchdown, and he did the Keenan and Kel jump.
Mm-hmm.
And the player was looking to see how many pumps, if you saw that episode, because the refs would only allow you 2 pumps. If it was a third pump, you got to fine or whatever. So this is going to be totally Russa as Tim Anderson is kneeling before the anthem. He's going to look at that. I don't know the sincerity of that kneeling right there, Timmy. Dude, that's not a sincere kneel right there. I don't think so. Right? That's really. It'd have been one thing sitting here today talking about, man, this dude hasn't been in the dugout in charge for 9 years. All right, but that added to it just is like the Sox cherry on top, and it's just like, how can we go from feeling so like Jerry is like, dude, we've been working out, Shawn. It's like your senior year when that fullback left and you didn't get no shine in your senior year, right? found scholarship on, right? You finally getting your shine on, you ready to go. You coming out of doubles or triples or whatever y'all got. And listen, you've been sitting behind somebody. You play like maybe a game, and then the next game they just start the wackest dude just because he's funny as hell or something. Like it's just like, dude, you was feeling so good. You had the lather on you. You were like, we were in a state of euphoria as White Sox fans. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's like you don't even get the vibe in the room. We over here partying. We having a beautiful time, baby. And Jerry just came and scratched the whole record, the needle on the like, just it's like, dude, that's like we were vibing in such a way that it just threw it all, and we didn't have to do. All we had to talk about was trash cans. That's all we needed to be talking about. You know, that's all. Listen, we went from we would be debating with people about trash cans to we had to resurrect Tony La Russa. All right, I don't even understand it, dude. Again, I do think I believe it's going to work. I believe that they should still be in contention. It's hard to win a World Series in MLB. That's facts. All right. Do I think he's an asset to win the World Series? Yeah, I believe Tony La Russa is an asset in winning the World Series. I think he should be hopefully even more of an asset than Jack McKee and Trader Jack was. Because, I mean, after that 1 year, Trader Jack really wasn't doing anything. I think Tony La Russa should be sustainable for a couple of years, hopefully, if the Sox go ahead and win it. But I still just didn't need this distraction when everything was going well. And there was a guy like A.J. Hinch. This is the last thing. Now A.J. Hinch is going to be in your division. Like, Packers weren't going to hire Tony La Russa, and Tony La Russa wasn't going to go to the Tigers. So let me even say that. Speaking of Tony the Tiger, Tony La Russa wasn't going to go to a Tigers team that's at the beginning of a rebuild, basically. All right, but you could have kept A.J. Hinch out of this division by just bringing in A.J. Hinch, and we could have all been sitting here just drinking Mai Tais and enjoying the rest of this beginning of this winter. But no, Jerry has to go pull a Jerry on us, and I mean, listen, I'm this close. I'm gonna stop raising my kids on this stuff, right? He got like I'm this close, right? Bulls and Sox, I'm this close to snip it, right? And I see why people have them this because it's like I'm tired of the abuse. I'm not one to take abuse and just sit around and take it. I usually get out of that situation, but here I'm just sitting and wallowing in it.
Yeah, one of my cousins stopped being a Bear fan. Now he's a Raiders fan, and so yeah, he was like, "I'm done," and he.
I like how you're protecting your lineage from Sox abuse.
Yeah, I'm serious. It doesn't make sense. Why am I going to give him more money for reparations when this is listen, he's gone. Even though I know after Jerry's gone, they're supposed to sell. Mike's supposed to sell the Sox. Which, to be honest with you, I look forward to that day. And I'm not saying I look forward to Jerry dying, but I look forward to having a modern day manager because it's an MLB team that if you're doing it right, you're going to make money. Let alone just off of the television deal and the deals on the streaming deals. So I look forward to getting out of this abusive relationship where money's the first thing. Because it's the thing that also pisses me off. So you basically are telling me that you never really tried in the past to build a team that was good enough for Tony La Russa to come to this organization, right? Like, but this is like this because Tony, like this is the thing, Tony wasn't coming. Like, if you didn't have the whip, he wasn't coming here, right? Like, anybody could come out of retirement for this team. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you dug up Billy Martin, he would come in Yankee pinstripes, right? George, like, no, it's Jerry. It's George. No, it's Jerry. Like, he would come, right? Anybody would come for like it's not. I'm not doing you a solid. Anybody's going to come for this team because the chances of you winning are easy, right? Like, yeah, I got the big stick, right? All I got to do is control the bullpen, right, and hope these pitchers' arms don't blow out. But I got the big stick, like. But it reaffirms to me everything bad that people have said from Jerry, and sometimes we defend him. Yes, that he started spending after years of not spending. You could say over the last 7 years that he spends more than he used to. It's still not necessarily like
the Dodgers or the Red Sox or the Yankees.
Yeah, it's still not. It's not in that vein. I mean, you look at the Bulls as far as going into the luxury tax. He's allergic to it. I mean, so it's one of those things where it harkens to all of those situations where you were like, yeah, that's either someone with some noise outside, or I don't even worry about it because you got to understand. Like we bring up how cash strapped our team is, like it's our pocketbook. Well, we can't do this because we're paying, Jim Boylan and Fred Hoiberg. We're as fans are explaining this. You can't. That's $7 million now. You just can't go out and get somebody. That coach money isn't even on the books. But we're That's part of the reason that it's not on the cap, but we're using that to help the team and their excuse for not going to spend the money. So that's where Ivan, when I bring up that it's going to get to the point, because I am one. I'm not even joking when someone's like doing me wrong. Usually it's like, all right, you out of here. And I've been done wrong because you've just told me that I really didn't put into this team everything I could have in the past because my friend wouldn't have come back to this team if I didn't have this. And this is the first time you ever did this. So it just reaffirms everything that we didn't like hearing about our organization. I guess that's kind of what I'm saying. And I'm not going to sit there and if it keeps going this way, which how many other chances do we have at the waning years? But yeah, dude, I'm ready to let go of this because when somebody kicks me in my teeth, and this is worse than kicked in my teeth because that does go away. I'm going to have to watch this for maybe 162 games. But when someone kicks me in my teeth, I'm not one to be like, yeah, go kick me some more. Like, that's just not necessary.
Thank you, sir. May have another.
Right. It's not necessarily my thing. And in some way, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm rushing myself to get over my feelings over something that had nothing to do with me. I didn't choose this, right? Like I didn't deserve this situation when I'm sitting here trying to enjoy my dog. I was sitting here doing remote learning with my daughter yesterday, and this came at the beginning of remote learning, right?
Oh, so you were set off right there.
Oh, dude, I had a hard seltzer at 1:30 yesterday. All right, at 1, I popped open a hard seltzer because it was like I can't take it, right? Like I was so. The whole lady's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Yeah, I kind of heard about that this morning." I'm like, you just don't understand what it says to me, especially being a person of color. What it says to me, it's not one of those things where I'm taking it lightly. And again, it goes to this: if we're speaking of sincerity, then you jump at like this is sincerity. This is how I would judge being sincere on a situation. I'm going to come out and talk about it when no one's talking about it, and the people are going to say, "Ken, you didn't even have to reverse your thoughts on that because we weren't even thinking about you right now," right? That's being sincere. When I want to apologize for something when people aren't even looking for my apologies because I'm not front and center. I'm in the background, so no one's really worried about what I said in 2016. That's being sincere. When I get a job and I have to talk about it, and that's when I address it, that's not being sincere. So like, and then again, this is the sincerity now, right? The guy that was on the other side, he's an op. He's the sincerity police. So yeah, those things, they don't rub me the right way, and I have no problem with it. If you don't understand, screw you.
Interesting.
It ain't interesting, Shawn. It's facts.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be. So how's this gonna sit if the Sox start doing well? If the Sox, and don't get me wrong, the NL Central.
I'm already in. I'm in. I'm in. This is my team. I can't reprogram me. Like I could have been a Cubs fan, right? I mean, I literally would spend summers playing in the projects right there where the fireworks go off, and I lived in the PCs, which is like it's directly east of the park. When my parents separated, my mother took us to the PCs. Like I grew up a Sox fan. I used to listen to the radio and wonder, this is in the 80s, the early 80s, why are people Cubs fans? Because every morning when my mother was ironing clothes, the Cubs lost, and it just didn't make sense to me. Like, why are people like, those guys lose a lot? Like that used to be the thing in my head. And again, I am a Sox fan. I was a Sox fan before 05. It speaks to my culture, the culture, how I feel about Chicago, the South Side, being black in Chicago to a certain degree, being a second-class citizen in a way. Not to say that I am, but just it's how
sports-wise, yeah.
Yeah, how it's kind of like I like Marvel more than DC, even though I collected DC because of mutants. Mutants speak to me as a black person because it was like, yeah, they just different. No reason, right? Mm-hmm. So the Sox, they speak to me like that. So I can't quit them right now, but I'm not happy with her, and we're not sleeping in the same room. I'm gonna tell you that. I may step out on you a little bit. Like, I may have to get some form of revenge in this situation because you totally disrespected me, right? You totally said I really don't care, right? It's like you brought him to the house and made love in the bed, right? Like the amount of disrespect, right? And it's your old man too. Yes, it's your old dude before I got there. Like the amount of disrespect. And again, it's a winning formula. Like you didn't step out with a loser, you stepped out with a winner. I give a props for that one. Yes. Right? He used to be a triple OG, but it's just still there's still some ache. And it's gone away. After watching the presser yesterday, I felt better. I mean, because I knew that it's still Tony La Russa, but there's some pain, man. Because why can't ours be easy? Like, that's the thing. Like, why can't we, like, we didn't expect Ricky was gonna get fired. They fired Ricky. We're like, y'all, you see it through our eyes too. You hear us. And then again, it's just like, why do you always have to make it hard to love you? Like, that's the thing. You made it.
It's that crazy chick that we just can't get rid of.
Yeah, I know.
She got that ooh-wee that just, but she's just batshit crazy.
Right.
But you get that ooh-wee, like, damn, baby, I just wish you weren't crazy. And I wish that just wasn't like that. Because, if it wasn't like that, I'd be gone. But it is. So I'm staying. and
I always left them, Shawn. I always left them. Like, I never stayed long in those situations, to be honest with you. I learned early, it's like, I don't like this. And it was that, like I just said, like, I'm abused. I usually like, I'm gonna step to the side. I wish you the best though, but I'm just not one necessarily to take it. And it's just, why does it have to be hard? Like, we were actually doing well, but it is what it is. And this too shall pass.
Here's the thing. We don't know. We don't know if it's going to be hard. We don't know, because this guy, he may, just as easy as it is for us to be pissy about what the hell you doing bringing this guy in. This guy could really, again, he could get these guys on board. He can, these guys, he's got respect. He walks in, he's a godfather, dude. He just needs to come in like in a black suit, with his hair slicked back. Like, that's a dude, that's a Don. You know what I mean? And he's like, and if he gets those guys to buy in, it might not be hard. It might not be. This could be a speed bump in the road, but for now, because the bottom line is, how soon can he connect with the players? And if he does, that's all that really matters. And you know what? The fact that I don't like this hire doesn't matter. The fact that you don't like this hire doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, if those guys, as I said before, those guys play for him, that's all that matters.
It still won't be as part of it. Still won't be as sweet. I'm gonna tell you what it is. This is like a more intense feeling of getting sick and tired of Carl Everett being on your team. Remember, you was sick and like, more Carl Everett? Remember when Carl Everett took the World Series trophy and ran out to that mound that used to be out there in Minute Maid Park? And he was like, just sit your ass down.
Yeah, you didn't do nothing.
You
ain't nobody.
Make it about him. That was like a blip. This is like, and it's just like, yeah. And then listen, when Carl Everett did that, I remember watching the World Series, and I was like, damn it, it's Carl Everett. It's like, all right, whatever, let's celebrate. It's going to be more like to see Tony La Russa holding that up.
So if that happens, you can be like, damn you, Tony La Russa. You're going to be like, hey.
Celebrating. I'm going to go back to celebrate. But I'm not going to, it's not going to be like, it's not going to cross my mind. Like this, because I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? And it's not going to listen. He's basically Drew Brees, and he didn't do what Drew Brees did, right? He didn't come to this understanding because his teammates pulled him out on the carpet, and saying he did this because he was getting a job, right? Thing like Drew Brees had to do this because the season was starting. Like, oh snap, I may have lost my team, right? Right? Like, oh, Michael Thomas is upset. I'm in some trouble, right? Drew Brees had to do this. Tony that as a prerequisite was like, hey, before you sign this paper, can you go out there real quick and tell him bygones are bygones about that BS you said back in the days? Like, that's not sincere. And again, hearing him say that he's the godfather of sincerity burns my side, to say the least. I'm going to enjoy winning. I'm here, but I'm going to talk about how I feel about this, because I don't feel like a lot of people's feelings were taken into consideration whatsoever.
And you know what? As a billionaire owner, unfortunately, he don't have to. He don't have to. It's unless we want to pay.
That's where it goes to my money. And when I can, and I've done this with plenty of people that are rich and it didn't affect them, take my business elsewhere.
Well, if the White Sox win, there's going to be a whole bunch of other money he can get. So I get it. I'm going to wait and see. But again, it's just nothing we can do. Nothing we can do about it. And I don't like it, but I love the White Sox, and I love the team we got. So I'm going to root for them. And if he wins us, if he leads us to a title, I'm cool with it. So
I'm enjoying it.
I might even go looting just because. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke.
He would be like, see, I told y'all.
I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Black kids out there looting. I told y'all. What did I say?
That double minority,
right? Compounding it, right? Like, what? You're like, yeah, Shawn, don't do. You're falling right into Tony La Russa's trap.
calmly walking into Dick's Sporting Goods with a polo.
Shawn and Maya on, and I start taking stuff out of. Hey, we got to go. Hey, Ken, thanks a lot, Papa. I appreciate it, and we will see you on Monday. You got any big plans this weekend? You going trick or treating? You going?
Nah, my niece is probably gonna come spend the weekend over here with us. That's
Okay.
that's the only thing I got going. What about you?
No.
You're not gonna be out there in the Rona. I know you like being out there in the Rona. You're not going out in the Rona this weekend?
No, I may. I got a little fever because I wasn't wearing a hat yesterday when I came. I had a wake to go to, and so I didn't. So I had to. So we went and grabbed something to eat, and I didn't want to put my jacket on because it was this little bar, Guides, and then so coming from the car into Guides, and then from Guides into the car, you know when your whole body aches and like that type of stuff. So that's how I feel. Like I couldn't get. CrossFit was tough this morning, but I know I know what this is, so I'm probably just gonna chill. Okay. I got tons and tons of vitamin C, emergency, so I'll be good. And I was I have this on. That's why truth be told, that's why I have my hoodie on, the sock shirt on, because I had the Thermogear, the Nike Thermogear, so I'm gonna sweat it out. So it should be gone tomorrow. So, all but right. I got to take Mom's out of here. I said I'm taking you to your sister's house, so just in case. So
yeah. All right, be careful. I hope you feel better.
Thanks, Papa. Thanks. All right, buddy. We'll see you on Monday. That's Kenneth Davis from That Davis Show. And again, you can find him on Twitter at That's Davis. My guy's coming up next. On the other side, man, we got some good football to talk. The Saints come marching in, and the draft Dr. Phil himself is going to join us again. So don't go anywhere, folks. Phil Toshin coming up next right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. After 2 straight away from home, the Bears are back at Soldier Field this Sunday afternoon, 3:25 Central kickoff, playing host to the New Orleans Saints. Chicago coming off Monday night's 24-10 loss at Los Angeles against the Rams. Prior to that, they beat the Panthers 23-16 in Carolina. Chicago battling for the top spot in the NFC North. They're 5-2. The Packers just ahead of them at 5-1. Meanwhile, the Saints in contention for the NFC South. They've won 3 in a row, 4-2 overall, behind the 5-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chicago 2-1 at home this season. The Saints 1-1 away from New Orleans. The White Sox introduced Tony La Russa as the team's new manager, the Hall of Famer taking over for Rick Renteria. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I worry about lots of things. My finances, my grandkids.
If you're 65 or older, you have enough things to worry about. Pneumococcal pneumonia shouldn't be one of them. Even healthy adults 65 and older are at increased risk for this potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. Help protect yourself with the Prevnar 13 pneumococcal 13-valent conjugate vaccine, diphtheria CRM 197 protein. Prevnar 13 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 13 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Prevnar 13 does not protect against all strains of the disease. Don't get Prevnar 13 if you have had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with a weakened immune system may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-866-694-9300 or visit Prevnar13.com. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 13.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago, and it's TGI Mickey Ficky Friday, baby. It's the weekend, baby. And I had my wardrobe change. Yes. So Monday or Sunday, I should say, is going to be the 1st of November. So it's Salute to Service month. So I got my camouflage Bears gear on, and I'm fired the freak up about it. It's going to be interesting. But I want to bring out my guest, man, good friend of the program. And if you don't watch him, I can't say the word because it's not politically correct, but you're missing out. You're missing out. You're an idiot if you don't watch this guy. He breaks down tape like a football coach. Oh, like the football coach that he is. And you know what? This is great stuff. So you want to look at, you want to gain some knowledge. You want to not be one of those stupid meathead fans. You got to check his network out. The Tape Never Lies. He's got a couple of shows on there, and he does a phenomenal breakdown. And he's a good friend of the program. I'm happy to have him out. You can find him on Twitter at Phil_Toshin. I believe that's what it is. Or at TTNL Network. That's the Tape Never Lies Network. Guys, let's bring him out. The draft doctor himself, Phil Toshin. Phil, what's up, buddy? How are you?
What's up? Can you hear me?
I got you, Papa. All good.
I'm currently in a car here at work. That's how much I appreciate my boy, Shawn.
Man, I appreciate you coming on, man. I shouted you out Wednesday. We were talking about you, and yeah, dude. I love what you do.
I appreciate the kind words. I hear you. I shouted you out last night.
Yeah,
I was thinking of you talking about the pussification of America. And that's truly a place, I guess, a starting point for people. Unfortunately, when you look at this Bears team, everybody wants to find a culprit, but I think we found him a few years ago. I know Coach Nagy and the confusion of his play calling, and obviously you've played the game. It all starts up front, and right now they're not even in the vicinity of good.
No, not at all. And you know what? The only decent thing about this week coming up is now we get to see what these youngsters can do. All right, we got Mustafa. Going to be a center. Are going to play starting at center this week. And how do you know this guy isn't good? We you know what? We don't. You and I have both talked about it. There's guys called gamers where they could just look like total horse crap in practice, and you put them in a game for whatever reason, injury or something, or someone is not playing well, and all of a sudden this guy just goes to work. You're like, holy cow, I don't see that in practice. So you got to find out what you got, and because and now we're forced to find out, but there should have been a point where he found out, for maybe a series or two, okay, a series or two in the middle of the game, the second quarter, or middle of the third quarter, okay, put these guys in, just give one series, okay, a 3 and out, or if you got a nice little drive, good. But now you know what you got, and so now we got Mustafa going there. For whatever reason, they're not going to sign
Spain,
Quentin Spain,
yeah,
and then Dontari Poe just got let go yesterday as a nose guard, and we don't need help on the defensive line, but it seems like that's the only place that he wants to spend money. So if Ryan Pace, if that's his MO, well, damn it, go get that 350-pound son of a gun to stop that run, because there's a guy named Derek something or other that we got to play next week who's pretty damn good and loves to truck over people. And if you're not careful, he will run past you at 235, 240 pounds. That dude is ridiculous.
Oh, he was my number one back over Ezekiel Elliott when he was coming out, and I got a lot of grief for that. Super scout Matt Miller deemed him a fullback, and I cracked up laughing, and we went back and forth. That was when I was on Twitter, but no longer on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook. It's all right. And yeah, we got a tough back this week. Kamara, that dude has some innate ability and balance and speed. So when you have those three combinations with, oh, by the way, a offensive line that actually knows what they're doing and how to set an edge, that becomes an issue. So really, this game this weekend has a lot of concerns for me. I don't see the Bears winning this. It's been a long time since I've felt that way, only because of that offensive line and the head coach. Coach Nagy continues to baffle me, never taking responsibility. The offensive line is in shambles here, in confusion. It's not talent. It's like, people misrepresent things. It's aggressiveness and fundamentals. It's like if you lack both of those, that tracks and traces back to the coach. We said it last week here. We said it the week before when you were on Keeping It 100. If you haven't seen Shawn on our show, I feel bad, Pop. You're not feeling good today. I worry about you, especially in this environment.
Yeah.
You got to take care of yourself, but
I got tons of water.
You're trooping it on your show.
And I got tons of little emergency tablets.
There you go.
I have like 5 left, and I'm gonna go to the store, grab some more when after I'm done with the show. So yeah, we'll be good. So we'll sweat it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna be texting you all weekend, and hopefully I'm wrong about these Bears, and that will be the bridge to your recovery. There, it'll be a nice get away from being sick. But I've been sick breaking down this tape, watching what I'm seeing, man. We had former Bears offensive tackle Steve Edwards on last night.
Steve Edwards. I saw him on the show yesterday.
Yeah, and he kept it 100, just like you kept it 100, about the offensive line play. We got a lot of trolls and blog boys, as I call them, that want to put things in a different, like, contrarian approach. But at the end of the day, football isn't algorithms and math equations. It's about what's on the tape and
blocking and tackling.
Exactly.
It's been that way forever.
And they're not blocking. Let's be honest.
No.
Brian Greasy gave away whatever. I know Alex Brown was upset that he broke a code of some sort, but he was keeping it 100 on what Nick was telling him privately, that he has concerns about the pass protection. Meanwhile, your coach goes out there, Shawn, and he tries to wing it 50 times, 45 times. It's like the Arena League. It's where he comes from. He can't get out of his own way.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't, and that's an issue. We got one of the clips that you had from that you broke down.
Oh,
ready, Ivan?
There's my boy. What up, Ivan?
What's up, Phil? How you doing?
How you doing, brother?
Good. I've got to be better if the offensive line could actually do something. You know what I mean? Like, whipping on blocks and just being soft as shit. The 2 clips that I have is, go figure, two offensive line clips. The first is Leno and Coward, and then the other clip would be on the right side. So first we're going to go with Leno and Coward. I believe the play is a pass.
Let's see this.
The tape never lies.
You heard it on the broadcast. We talked about it on Bears Hour Live. There is a very thin margin of error with this offense based on everything that's going on. You gotta catch the football. Here we go on a slant. He throws it behind him, forces him to stop, pitter pat. You see the protection breakdown. The pocket's closing on him. Watch it from behind. Look at Charles Leno just allowing the guy to get into his body. That's Aaron Donald. Look at him. Allows him in, and now he just ushers him in there. Howard, too. Set. Look at catch and allow to go in. It's like the same thing every time.
That's just fundamental. That's fundamental football. Your outside leg is planted, but you can never let anyone cross your face as an offensive lineman. And the fact that once they cross your face, that's when you engage with them like a run block. That's when you got them, and that's when you drive them. And you know what? It's frustrating as Bear fans to see this thing every single week. And we talked about this. Why not give Spriggs a shot? Okay, because if your quarterback is telling another quarterback or former quarterback, I don't got time. Exactly. He calls it a play. It's like, dude, I'm the one getting hit, not you. I'm the one getting hit, and it's not fun. I don't care how much money you gave me. That's not fun when I got a 300-pound guy putting his face mask in my chest or in my ribs. It's not fun. So, the first thing you have to do is get him protection. The first thing you got to do is shore up, and that means if you have to cut down the amount of people in the routes, then you have to cut down the amount of people in the routes and have one or two options. Okay, two, maybe 3, and then first look, second look, dump off, and after that doesn't work, throw that sucker out of bounds. And he just doesn't do that, and that's frustrating.
Well, he puts his quarterback in predicaments. I mean, we saw it with Mitch. He became a narrative now. I think a lot of people are realizing this was handpicked guy by Nagy to run his offense, and the points aren't showcasing there. There's only one variable that's in the equation that's the same for all those nerds with math. It's the coach and the protection issues. It all starts with accountability. Imagine, you were on the show and you made the greatest point. I keep referring about Fangio holding Kyle Fuller accountable to the media, to the fans, to the team, and how that changed the course of his career is unremarkable. You can't overlook that. Now look at Charles Leno. No one's ever said a 7th round pick, the story isn't great, but the play on the field isn't great. So therefore, you have to do something as a head coach, like you said, to hold players accountable, to be able to run your offense and have those philosophies that you want. You have to hold them accountable. And if you don't, to your point, Shawn, you have to do something different. You got to keep it simple, stupid, and close it down. Put tight ends into help. Always, listen, as a head coach, you have to be maniacal. He's so worried about his playbook that he doesn't get to the point of understanding matchups. It's like, I called it spaghetti on a fork. It's like falling off. It's just, let's throw anything up and see where our identity is. Your identity can be found by running the football. If you make that a goal, and I don't care if we win or lose, and you yell at the locker room, we are going to run this football. And if we don't, then some of you goddamn punks are out of here. You're out of here. We are going to run the ball. If we have to run it 50 times, we are going to find out who we are as a team. That kind of, forget a BU philosophy. There's, you know what? I was thinking about this last night. I stumbled on it, Shawn. That BU philosophy was fine for a mantra for that season. But really what football is, it's not about being you. It's about togetherness. It's a team sport. So think about the message that you were sending. And then you watch the tape, and it's like last week when I was on here, we're watching Anthony Miller. We're watching Demetrius Harris, Jimmy Graham this last game. Walking around. Nothing's changing. They're still walking around. They're not helping each other. They're missing assignments. So who's the culprit of that? Like, that's the coach.
That's the coach. That's the offensive line coach.
Exactly.
Those guys, and they're not holding them accountable. And so that's the whole issue. So now they got some changes here. And what do you think? Because this run defense for the Saints is pretty good. The pass defense is not as good as some of the ones that they faced recently. So now what are you saying? We're gonna have to pass more, and because we're gonna have to pass more, are we gonna be able to keep him protected, especially with a new center in there?
I honestly, let me tell you about the new center. This is your head coach. Okay. Whitehair gets hurt. You've played the game. On my sheet, when I have a new center come in, the first play I run is not a screen because the center is so responsible for the screen. So this kid on his first NFL snap is responsible to run screen. And watch, I don't remember if I put that on the patronage version of the Tape Never Lies or the one on YouTube on our channel, but he doesn't know they're both blocking the same guy. And then the guy that's supposed to be blocked is coming in and cleaning up Montgomery. And it's just a Chinese fire drill out there with that. But this kid, to your point, I did watch him a little bit. He ran. He was the only lineman running to the football to see if someone breaks a tackle that he could throw a block. He showed me an awareness and an aggressiveness. Now, he wasn't perfect. They had a twist stunt, Shawn, and they look like the Three Stooges out there.
Everyone's seen a twist in their life.
Their shoulders are all turned, and there's Nick Foles throwing a dime to Mooney, just taking it right in the chest and just getting lit. But the reality is, this is what your coach is bringing. There was a stat that really fits to the tape, and those stats I love. It was David Montgomery was rushing 5 yards a carry when they're under center. When they're in shotgun, He's getting hit at 0.18, meaning I think that's what he's in the backfield. He's in the backfield getting hit every time he touches the ball. So that tells me they can't sustain their block, that they're predictable, that the team who gets paid, you know how I have the coaches tape, Ivan, because I have Game Pass. Well, the whole NFL has free access to all of the tape, just like we do. And they see it too. There's no advantages. There's no disadvantages. So people are doing their homework. And you know where they're attacking? Like that play you saw? Let's put Aaron Donald on this pillow boy. Yeah, let's put him on Mr. Walrus and watch him cross his face on a 3-step, on a slant route. Your quarterback's having to worry. That should be the last worry. So until there's changes of a coach with the BU philosophy, how could you hold your locker room to a degree or a standard when you're holding someone like Mitch Trubisky accountable or Alex Bars? Remember, 2 plays. The next game, he was your emergency in there. Then all of a sudden, Coward's your guy the next game. What did he do that Leno hasn't done where he's not being, or Massey? I'm not of the belief of these bloggers or PFF score guys where they're telling you that Spriggs is not better. They don't know.
No, you really don't. Guys, we're joined by Phil Latoshin. He is the draft doctor, Phil himself, talking a little Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. So we have an issue here. So Allen Robinson might not be ready. He might not get out of concussion protocol. What does that do? So are you going to do you think that they're going to bring in, a Riley Ridley, the guy who was a beacon of light, as Matt Nagy said?
The beacon of route running light in the draft.
And so are we going to see him? Are we going to see, who are we going to see if Allen Robinson can't go? Because as you said, that's a huge, huge loss.
Well, he's been your security blanket. Him and Mooney have been absolutely carrying the passing game with Jimmy Graham obviously mixed in. It's hard to tell because the coach he can't be accountable himself, like with statements like, we got to get Kenneth involved. Well, you're the guy. You're the one that's got to do it.
Isn't that funny?
We got to run the ball. We got to do that. We got to do a lot of things, but they never seem to occur. And then he always gets defensive, and the media kowtows to it because they don't want to have their access removed. I don't know. But to answer your question, I am a big believer in Riley Ridley. I really think, Javon Wims on that last play, Ivan, of the game, Javon Wims just makes Jalen Mr. Everything, talking, running. He burns him so bad. And granted, the game's going to be over, but Wims beats him deep.
I think that was Mooney.
No, it's the very last play. I put it on the tape. The very last down the Bears have, and Nick Foles throws the ball 4 yards out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
He steps up, but the route that's run, to your point, Shawn, when you were on our show talking about Javon Wims, he's 6 foot, almost 6'4", 200 and something pounds. He's got great hands. Now, granted, we haven't seen a lot of him. Ridley, another guy, 6'1". What was his specialty at Georgia? Jump balls, red zone, moving the chains, running great routes.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen him. What we continue to see is Anthony Miller make mistakes, be selfish. Hopefully he turns it around. This is a concern for me because even on top of that, a guy like Ted Ginn is taking up spots and not returning the ball, not catching the – we lost 45 hidden yards there.
Mm-hmm.
Which, with an offense that's as fragile as ours, that, they're a thumbnail away from breaking. They need every inch they can get, and you're not fair catching the ball. I know they signed my boy, the former Jet. What's his name? Harris, right?
Dwayne Harris.
Dwayne Harris, yeah, from East Carolina. That kid is a fearless punt returner. So hopefully maybe they bring him up and get him in because Ginn right now, you can't have this kind of punt returning. Ridley's got to be up. Mooney is your number one if this happens, and hopefully they run it like that. If that was me, Ridley would be getting a shot here. Wims would be starting with Mooney, and then you put Anthony Miller in the slot with Ridley and have them compete in there. And this is the perfect game where you need that 2 tight end set where you got to get these guys evened up, keep it simple, help your offensive line, run the ball, and allow your defense to help. This is the only way you're going to win this game, is really emphasis on those 2 tight end situations to run the ball and get them even, so you can actually use the check with me at the line. Let Nick go no huddle. There's no fans, Shawn. There's no fans. So let him press these Saints. Let him get in a rhythm and help your offensive line gain some confidence here. I've never met an offensive lineman that didn't love to run block.
Of course, they don't exist.
Exactly. Until I saw our offensive line, our left tackle. He does not like to run block. I can tell you that right now. So
yes. You know, the thing that I thought they should have done last game, and to your credit, to your point, Phil, that 2 tight end set, like you could run off tackle on that. You could run right at Leonard Floyd, who was murdering anybody lined up with. You could run right at his ass, get him worn out. You could have that defense moving side to side. You could do that. But if you don't want to adjust as a coach, if you refuse to not adjust, and BU, like you said, BU is great and all for that. It was great enough for that year. But when you can't adjust and you're not willing to adjust, BU becomes selfish because all you want to be is you. And you don't want to and make an adjustment for the team. And for me, that's what it reared its head again on Monday night against the Rams. He didn't want to adjust. They're passing, in astronomical numbers. You don't want to stick to a run. You're running plays to your quarterback's opposite hand side. You know what I mean, where he has to force it up into coverage that was everywhere in the corner. Like things like that really irked me about him. He doesn't have the ability to adjust. It just seems selfish.
Yeah, it is frustrating. Listen, I was exhausted cutting the tape and doing that because of what I saw. I know you gotta, as a coach, you have to let go of your pride. You have to do, and you look back at Mitch Trubisky as an example. Mitch Trubisky made plays with his feet. They won the NFC North with Mitch Trubisky. Obviously, the defense is what it is. Right now, it is what it is. It's keeping you in the games. It's 10-3. Think about this. Before the half, he doesn't even call a timeout and try to block a punt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to be maniacal. I've always said this. I was always taught it. You got to be maniacal.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to do what your players do well. If you are so concerned about what you want to do offensively, like, these are my plays, then you've lost the war before it even started. You have to recognize what your players can do. You can't run outside zone and have a tackle that's unwilling to cut off and give maximum effort, because that cutoff block is the difference between getting a loss and getting a 6-yard gain on a cutback. What a zone play is about vision and feel of a running back.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's body on body. If you have laziness in there, you're going to have a narrative that's destroying a young talent. And that's really where it's been. I mean, you destroyed Mitch Trubisky. The narrative came out what it was. Now, Mitch has his warts, but every quarterback has his warts. But I really feel like Matt Nagy is the biggest issue to the Chicago Bears. And then you got the offensive line. It always starts up front. But if you really hem it in and you hold players accountable and you stop with all this shenanigans and bullshit and excuses and you get after it, you really will. I mean, Shawn, 3 years and he's still talking about we have to find our identity. He's still giving the ball to Cordero Patterson in critical situations where you're There was a stat that the smartest man, my boy, he told me to say what up to you guys, Ivan and Shawn.
Shane would say what's up.
Shane used it last night. Do you know on 3rd and 2 or less that David Montgomery has a 70% factor of getting the first down? 70%. So as a coach, don't you have a responsibility to
feed his ass?
To feed him in those situations with a guy that's 225, muscled up, that has instincts, balance, and oh, by the way, he led the nation in breaking tackles. In the NFL right now, I believe that he's the number 1 back at broken tackles because he's got to do it on every play.
Are we talking about the 4th down where we ended up pitch it back?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
We give them yards in order for Cordero Patterson to not get to come up short anyway.
Well, you're asking your receivers to block.
That was the issue.
Your Javon Wims to take on a defensive end. He doesn't do it right. Leno is getting knocked down by a corner. A corner's knocking him. And then you got Allen Robinson, got to hold him accountable. You didn't do a good job in a critical situation. You got to stalk block. You got to be aggressive in there.
On that particular play, had you had Jimmy Graham as opposed to Javon Wims.
Exactly.
There was
a personnel decision.
Yes, there's a lane, and it's not about, we don't need 75 yards. It's 4th and 1. We need 1. Exactly. And there was a lane, and the only thing, and with his speed, he would have gotten, if you have that blocked the defensive end. Now it's him and the safety, because those two guys were blocked just good enough, not great, not pancake, just good enough. And now it's Cordell Patterson on a safety. So now this guy misses, we're going to the house. And worst case scenario, he gets tackled 3 yards across the line of scrimmage when you only needed 1, and we keep the chains moving.
Exactly.
The personnel decision that he's making they're very frustrating, because all you have to do is switch Jimmy Graham instead of Javon Wims. He just get in his way, and he's got enough weight in his ass where he can hold him for literally
a
1.5 seconds is all you need. That's all you need.
Even if you had a timeout or you call timeout and you challenge your player, we need 1 yard here. Mm-hmm. Who wants this? I mean, this is football at the end of the day. What I'm watching out here is ballerinas, prima donnas that don't give their all. They are Ivan being you. They're showing their true colors. And they're not playing to the whistle. This isn't made up. You can go over to the YouTube channel, the Tape Never Lies Network. You can watch me break down the tape. It doesn't lie. It's right there. I could go back and forth with anybody to show you the truth in regards to what is happening up front and why this is holding any quarterback back. Any of them.
I feel like maybe it's just a difference in philosophy, but if I'm here, if it's right there, I want to go directly there. I don't like the gimmicky shit. Like, it got too cute in times where, hey, you're down in this game. You're down. You need this for that. Don't get too cute when you need this. To me, it goes back to him being selfish. It goes to me, the whole BU thing. And it's like, I get you, coach. I get you want your play. I get that's a smart play to have either a big gain or you're successful anyway. But think about what you're giving up to do all that. Think about the personnel first and foremost who you have out there in order to make this successful. And just, I mean, honestly, you have a running back who wants to hit somebody, who looks to make the contact and bounce off. Make contact to him to Montgomery is a friend at times, because he could bounce right off you, he could spin right off you and keep going. Like, for me, if it's right there, I want to go straight ahead, straight forward.
Absolutely.
With the monster that I have.
We had my father on after the game. He was talking about, you're not hitting it off tackle. You're running right at Aaron Donald all the time. Like, who does that? Like, you want to run away from him at some point. To Ivan's point, who Leonard Floyd is. And he went out there and embarrassed Massey and all of them because they don't play with proper technique and they don't play with an attitude. They play with thought. Who do I block? So if the scheme is so confusing, in the third year that maybe you got to dial it back, coach, and go down to the grassroots of football and start challenging your players, holding them accountable, and keeping it simple. This is a guy that got so offended with Adam Hogue, asked him about the I formation and the success of it. They were averaging 8 yards a pass or run. It didn't matter, out of the I. And when challenged, if you remember this freaking drop, we kept playing it on our network. I didn't come here to run the I. Well, coach, if it's working, whatever's working should be the answer there. It's like Charles Leno's interview yesterday. How you doing? I'm doing all right. You know, it doesn't matter. It's how I end the season. No, it isn't.
No.
Can you imagine saying that as a pro?
You're only as good as your last game.
He goes, it matters how I play it by the end of the year. No, it doesn't. It matters how you're playing now, this weekend, last weekend. Every play matters. To your point, Ivan, with an offense that's struggling to do anything successfully, like think about where you hang your hat on an offense. Like when I was a coach and you're scouting another team, Shawn, you're like, this team really could beat you up with the power game. So you prepare to stop that. Of course, they're going to boot off that, but you got to take away what that team does well.
Yep.
The Bears, what do they do best offensively? I have no clue, because you know what? There is no identity in year 3. They do the jet sweep. They do the jet sweep.
Hey, guys, we're joined by Phil Atoshin. He is the Draft Dr. Phil. He's on the Tape Never Lies network. Make sure you follow him on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. And he's got a Patreon channel where you can get a more in-depth breakdown of his breakdown for the Bears every week. And we're talking a lot of Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. We're going to let you go in a few moments. This defense, now that Khalil Mack is on the injury report, what can this defense do? Michael Thomas is scheduled to be back. Just because he's back doesn't mean he's going to be 100%. But an 80% or 70% Michael Thomas is a lot better than some other wide receivers in the league. So what do you think we have to do? Because without Khalil Mack, I've been liking what Robert Quinn's been doing. He's been stepping up. He's been giving a little more production, a lot more pressures. But if you don't have the other bookend in Khalil Mack, what do you think this team's going to do to stop Drew Brees in a high-powered offense?
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be tough. I mean, Brees hates middle pressure, and Akeem Hicks and Drew Brees have a real love-hate relationship. I'll let you know that. I won't tell stories, but I know that they don't like each other that much. So the motivation that Akeem brings will be interesting to see on this Sunday. And yeah, I think Max is going to play. He is a true warrior. But to your point, keeping him out plays because of the tightness in the back. But you got to get after Brees. That's the only way. Kamara is a dangerous threat. Toss plays. Speaking about tossing it, I mean, what the Rams were doing with that kind of back, you're going to get some big chunk plays. And really, those inside backers, Rokon in the Carolina game played a whale of a game. And then last week, he was missing some tackles. And really, you got to be consistently getting people to the ground. If you're not practicing tackling, Eddie Jackson, Gibson had his worst game against the Rams. He had a easy interception that could have turned the tides of the game. He ends up, I don't know, I called it the Dwight Schrute ping pong spike. I don't know what that was. He goes up and smacks the ball. I'm like, put 2 hands on it.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my God! But they did finally get Eddie. Finally got his touchdown. They took 3 of them away from him, so now he finally got one. So they got to tackle. You got to tackle. They're going to threaten you down the football field. They got good tight ends. They're a receiving core. So really, it kind of is, the onus is going to be on this offense to get something. Because if you're not scoring, this guy's supposed to be the guru. If you're not scoring, I think he's only scored 21 points in 24 games. And that's an indictment on a coach that's come here to build this team through his offensive genius. It really is. You can't scheme 21 points, and this defense is championship quality. So you're going to need Khalil Mack out there. The drop off is intense. I was proud of Pagano. I had a halftime speech on our Patreon network, and I was saying you're going to have to move Roy Robertson Harris in this game outside to end, because our backup ends, Mingo and Waters, were getting blown off the football. So you need a man out there. And sure enough, the second half, Pagano put him out there, and you saw what happened, because they were running
nice plays.
Yeah, they were running those Delaware wing T concepts where they're running that guy off the wing in motion.
Mhm.
They're getting your linebacker to false step. They had the Bears on the ropes. They shut it down, and your offense just couldn't do anything in regards to point. You had the turnover, obviously. So I think Mac will play. I know I gave you the long answer here, but I really feel like the defense is going to be keeping you in this game. It's the same form. It's the same recipe.
Oh, yeah.
And the offense is going to have to do something. Real quick, this was the same guy who ran Jordan Howard out of town.
Yep, I talked about that.
Yes.
That was the first red flag for me. That was the first red flag. Like, hold on, player.
He said, if I can't figure out how to use Jordan Howard, I shouldn't be coaching.
Exactly. That was his. I quoted him last night on that. I'm like, you came in here, and I remember it specifically because I loved Jordan Howard. I loved how he ran.
Yes.
He just hit it downhill, and there was no mistakes about it. You said it, Shawn. He was, in regards to 2 years in the NFL, only person that had more yards rushing than him was Ezekiel Elliott. And when Coach Nagy says that, Ivan, if I can't figure out how to use Jordan Howard the right way, I shouldn't be coaching. Well, you traded him out of town to try to cover yourself. And now we're here looking at this offense. Listen, at some point, I don't know if it's a hex or a voodoo curse or whatever, but Chicago, you got to run the football. It's a simple. Mike Martz couldn't be successful here. Terry Shea, all these guys that have come here as passing theorists and whatever, it always fumbles and foils. You have Mark Trestman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy!
real quick, that him getting rid of Jordan Howard, like he's brought in all his personnel. But to me, and we talk about how he kind of neglected Mitch. I just feel like Matt Nagy wants the Kansas City Chiefs personnel. Like
right.
He wants think about it. Like he's trying to recreate a Kareem Hunt and David Montgomery. He's trying to recreate. Well, he was trying to recreate a Patrick Holmes-led offense with Mitch, but he saw he couldn't do that. So he just abandoned Mitch altogether. He's trying to find a speed guys. I guess Anthony Miller would take the place of a Tyreek Hill. I just feel like he wants this team to be the Kansas City Chiefs offense, but it's not.
Yeah,
well, part of the reason it's not is his lack of use of tight ends. There's a team out by you, Phil, that employed a 2 tight end set that worked out pretty good. And so now you've all of a sudden you had Jimmy Graham, who's found a fountain of youth and kicking some serious ass all season, and then all of a sudden now you have Cole Kmet, who you see is a baller.
You gotta use him.
Bingo. So now you got 2 guys in the team. Yeah, he does. He's a little son of a gun. And the thing that you have that you always want, like technique can be taught. Technique can be taught. Form, fundamentals can be taught. You can't teach heart. You can't teach attitude. You can't teach nastiness. And Cole Kmet has it. We don't have one offensive lineman, since Olin Cruz. No, I take that back. Kyle Long was that dude before he got hurt.
He played.
Yeah, and he was a guy who I could guarantee you, he would sit there and say, "You're going to be my bitch all day," and do it. When you have those guys, those type of linemen, that signifies a good offense, because they one is an intimidation factor. 2, if you're able to do it, now you're able to run the ball. Now you're able to boot off it.
Exactly.
Now you're action. Now you're, and there's so few things, and I've seen it, and I'm sure you've seen it as well. When you beat a team, when you win by attrition, and I've seen this many a time in teams against teams that I was playing, where their will not to compete, not to win, but their will to compete was gone because you just beat the hell out of them and you move them play in and play out. And there's nobody on this offense who has that nastiness to say, you know what, I'm going to move you every single play. And that's the problem. There's no offensive lineman. There's no Olden Cruz. There's no Kyle Long anymore. There's no tough son of a bitch who's going to do that and say, hey, I don't care what he called. You run behind me. That's the type of offensive lineman, the attitude that we need.
Yeah.
And we don't have it.
Imagine if you had accountability real quick. Steve Edwards made a great point last night. He talked about there was a code in that room, that offensive line room, that tightness, that togetherness, that nobody wore sleeves. Nobody. Guess who wears sleeves out there every week? Your left tackle. Your left tackle.
Because he's cold. It's cold.
He's cold. I go, Steve, oh my God, you're blowing my mind. You're 100% right. There's no toughness to the level of we are going to win this game. We are going to work our butts off because the head man is not. Imagine, think about this. If this coach goes out there Sunday and says, Spriggs, you're starting. Think about the message it sends to the locker room and to every player that you're actually holding players accountable and that you're maniacal about winning. That
regardless of your contract, regardless of who makes the most money.
The politics are gone. We're about winning. Your fan base, your players, and you might find that chip on somebody's shoulder. We don't know.
You know what, Phil? Here's the only issue though.
Yeah.
Is because Bob Nightingale was on our show Monday, and we asked him about the Tony La Russa hire, which is okay. And I said flippantly, I was like, oh yeah, he just allegedly has an interview. He goes, no, he didn't allegedly. He had the interview. He said, and the job is his if he wants it. And I was like, and I said, well, really? I was like, what about? Can he make it? He's like, look. He goes, everything is scripted. He said everything is scripted from the front office. The front office makes all the decisions. So if this pitcher, he's facing X amount of batters, he's doing this, he's doing that. I'm pulling him. This guy comes in. He said it's all scripted. Huh. So yeah, and which is why he said Ozzie Guillen will never get a job in Major League Baseball because you can't trust him because he's going to tell the truth. Yep. You can't, and he's going to do things his way. And so I'm thinking this is the same situation with the Bears. Okay, Ryan Pace has the control, Matt Nagy. It's easy to control Matt Nagy because this is your first job.
Yep.
This is your first job, and you're going to kind of do what your general manager says, and which is one of the reasons why I think that you still have Speed Bump Charlie, as you like to call, Jay Leno over there on the left tackle, and you still have Bobby Massey because he's saying, I paid him, they need to play, and that is straight up bullshit when you're trying to win a game. Because you know what, you can cut them next year, go get some other tackles, and you know what, some signings you win, some signings you lose, and that's just that's the nature of the beast. And just realize you lost on those two, move on, go get someone else. Maybe I'm crazy, I don't know.
No, you're not. I wish they would do it. I wish it for the fans, for the quarterback.
Yeah, the hell with the fans, the quarterback,
for the running back. Just help set the tone. You're 5-2, but on tape you look like 1-6. You know what I'm saying?
And that's defense, dude. That's because of defense.
And that's exactly why.
Imagine if they would have had those two, the three Eddie Jackson touchdowns. And
it's
you can't.
Total different. And the thing is, I don't just support or hate. I go by what I see. So I cheer for the jersey. I always say that. I'll always say it when I come on your show too. So when I look at the tape, it's a clean slate. All right, what am I seeing? I already saw the game live and I have my opinions, but there's been countless times where I thought someone played horribly.
Yep.
And I go on the tape and I'm like, oh my God, he was actually doing the right thing. And this guy's messing up and he's covering for him. So it reveals the true story of what transpired in the games. And really, I know the finger is the point at this head coach because he's hiding with this record. You're fine. We're winning. Yeah, we're going to get it right. But reality is you can't get it right until you do some of the things Shawn Sierra is saying and Ivan's saying about accountability, about simple situational football. You have to have your best players on the field, and it's 4th and 1. Why is Jimmy Graham not there? No, why isn't Montgomery out there? Why? Why? Oh my God!
And then
you guys.
You talk about the accountability. It was Javon Wims. You got to get that first down. You stop and Jalen Ramsey. He knocked him scared. He definitely short of the yard to gain. But then there was another Darnell Mooney. Runs a route and he gets caught. He runs a route. They need 3 and he runs it at 2. That's the type where you go and you say, what the hell are you doing? You need 3.5 to 4 is where you go. So if you have to come back for the ball because the coverage is good, you still have the first down regardless. When you run it underneath before the sticks, now you still have to get to the sticks. And if you're tackled, now we got to punt. These are small things that people don't realize. And these are things that flip the field because and it keeps their defense. It would have kept their defense out there. It would have had them getting a little more tired and worn down. But you don't do that, and that's the accountability that people don't understand. Like, oh, he should have had it. I was at a bar, and I swear I wanted to headbutt this girl because she's like, oh, darn, he should have had it. And that was a good try. She said that was a good try.
Good try.
And I was like, I looked at her. I was like, okay.
It's hard.
I had to count back from 10, 9, 8, 7. I was like, and you're a woman, so I definitely can't headbutt you because if Me Too movement will kill me. So, hey, Phil, great stuff, buddy.
One last point.
Sure, go ahead.
That play, Javon Wims, he's short of the line to gain. You're a head coach. You're maniacal. Let's go up to the line. Run a play. You don't want them replaying this. They marked it as a first down.
Yep.
Get it going. These are the things Bill Belichick, McVay, he did that crap earlier. You see the kids, Shanahan, they're all involved in the game. They're watching the game. You know what, Shawn? Our coach is watching his play sheet and the quarterback, and that's it. He's not watching who's messing. Like, you have to see the game. I think he just sees plays, and that's the reality there. Sorry.
That could be it. No, don't apologize because you know what? You and I vibe, man. We vibe, and we both have phenomenal, a great football IQ. So no need to apologize that you're smarter than a lot of other people. So football wise,
that's the only thing I'm smart about. I'm not afraid to admit it. That's my one talent.
And that's okay. Hey, buddy, I really appreciate it, man.
Love you guys.
So do me a favor, give me a prediction.
Yeah, I predicted last night. I predicted the Saints to win 24-10.
Okay.
That's where I feel. Hey,
does the defense score the touchdown or the offense?
That's what I said. We're going to get a defensive touchdown. It's going to be Kyle Fuller. He's going to take it to the house.
Pick 6, baby.
Pick 6, yep. That's where I'm at. And I hope I'm wrong. I always pick the Bear. I always feel great. This matchup, this game, that offensive line that we have, I just, if the defense goes out there and balls out, you're going to win that football game with turnovers and stuff like that. But I just think they're overmatched on the offensive side of the football. And this play caller, man, right after the game on Bears Hour Live, talking about him. Ivan might come on again.
All for it. Let me know.
If you could send that over to Shane again, that was awesome, brother.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I love you guys.
Hey, great stuff, Phil. We'll
Shawn,
talk.
Feel better, man.
Will do, Papa.
Keep me posted. I'll be texting you throughout the weekend.
Here comes my first vitamin C drop. I'm going to put my hand in my mouth like Skittles, like 3 of them at a time.
There you go. I love the relationship we have here. You guys are the best, man.
Hey, you're pretty damn awesome yourself, dude.
I'm sitting in the snow. It's snowing in Connecticut. Look.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Damn.
I'm sitting in the snow, cold car for you guys. That's what we do.
Man, I appreciate it, brother.
Love you guys.
I do. You're the bomb, bro. All right, man. We'll talk soon. Guys, that was Phil Atoshin, the draft doctor himself. And you know what? This is what fans need. They need to have, and this is what I need, like someone to talk with so we can talk on a higher level. For the fans, and when you put it on tape, you there's nothing for you to say. There's no arguing. There's no saying he's good. There's no saying he's this, he's that. There's nothing, and that's why he named the network "The Tape Never Lies." Okay, because it doesn't. And I didn't get to tell him this, but there are times when, I would rip a kid a new asshole. I would a couple times, and I go back and watch the film. I'm like, oh damn.
Yep.
And I'd have to go. I'm like, hey, listen, I know it's kind of hard on you for the game yesterday. I was like, but I see what you're doing. I said, I want to apologize. I said, I see that you were doing this. I said, and you were doing your job, but you're also covering for somebody else. I said, so I said, I get it. I said, I understand. I said, but make sure that you have your job first. I said, if it's his fault and his guy beats him, I said, don't cover up for him and have your guy beat you, because then I'm going to continue to yell at you because your guy made the play. He was like, all right, coach. I said, there's 11 people out here. I said, everyone's got to do their job. And he was like, all right, coach. And that's the type of thing, you to this day, like my kids are all over the country, and, I'll shoot them a text and they're like, hey coach, what's going on? Because you know what, as a man, I'm not perfect, nowhere near perfect as a coach, but when I look at the tape and I see the what actually happened, and I can go back and watch it as many times as I want, then I can make a better assessment. Because first of all, I'm not, as a D coordinator, I was never up in the box. I was always on the field, and I had people up top telling me, hey, they're doing this, they're beating us here, send somebody from this side. And so I really didn't have a great feel until I saw the tape.
Right.
And and then I had no problem ever going up to a kid and say, hey, listen, come here. I said, I was tough on you, but that's what you need to hold them accountable. And I hold myself accountable when that happens. And that's what this Bears team doesn't have. I want Chuck Pagano to call some people out, call Dan Trevathan out. I want some people to say, hey, listen, you got to step your game up, because it's not where it needs to be. And I understand the defense has to understand that they are going to have to carry this team until the offense can get clicking. And that could be 1 game, 2 games, 5 games, the rest of the God blessed season. Okay. But you have the talent to do that. So and this is the mindset that Chuck Pagano, and I think that most of those guys know, because trust me, you and I both play the game. When your offense is struggling, or when your defense is struggling, or your defense, no one has to tell you.
It's a feel. It literally is a vibe throughout. You're walking through the vibe of what's happening throughout the stadium.
When I was with the Thunder, and I'd come over, the Thunder had won a few championships, not national championships before I got there. But they won quite a few league championships and mid-states tournament championships. And their game was 17-10, 10-3, 10-7. Okay. And because they knew, and their defense was so good, they knew that the offense wasn't going to put up points, and they had to hold their own. And when we came over in 2005, dude, they were like, this is insane. Dude, we were putting up 30 plus in 2005. I don't remember if it's 2005 or 2006. Well, first of all, when I got there in 2005, I was a backup. I was a backup running back, and this is with the league MVP under my belt from the another league coming over. But hey, I came to this new team. I'm new. I'll get in where I fit in. So it had to be 2006. So 2006, we go down. We win the national championship down in Florida. If you took the games from our regular season, I finished like 3rd in the league in rushing, maybe 4th, and we sat out an equivalent of 2.5 games, 10 quarters. Our offense first team offense sat out because we were just blowing teams away, And so the defense, when we got there in 2005, they were just like, holy cow, dude. Like we could score. I know it for a fact, there are at least 5 times where we put up 3 touchdowns in a quarter, 3 touchdowns, and it's like bam, 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 bam. And I was like, oh damn, we're down 21 points in the first quarter. We're down, the start of the second quarter. And our defense didn't have to do that anymore. They didn't have to carry us. They could just go get the quarterback, because now you ain't run the ball. You're down 21 points. You ain't running the ball very much. So
my thing with Matt Nagy, and that's true. Like you there's a sense of we're safe. It's almost like a safety. Like, all right, cool. Now we're relaxed. We're calm. We could see the field and react. We could just react. And
they've been able to eliminate one of the things, either run or pass.
Exactly.
They're able to take out the run because they're down 21 points, 28 points, 35 points, and there's no way you're going to get back in it running the ball. So now you can just go get the quarterback.
Exactly. And that's the thing that kills me with Matt Nagy is that the lack of adjustment, but the lack of recognition to what's going on the football field, where the weakness is happening right then and there. You got coaches, you got guys on monitors, you got guys looking at film, you got film being sent down. How are you not making adjustments that benefit your team at certain points. How are you not attacking those ends in Leonard Floyd and whoever?
Right at his ass. You should have ran. You should have let him go. You should have let him go. Let the tackle let him go and put a tight end in there. And tight end, just like a straight up old school lead. Old school lead. Give me a 48 lead, 47, 46 lead, and let's go back and just beat the hell out of them.
Have them offset. Have the tight end offset to the running back. So you have a direct line, a direct train right to that edge, and you could. I thought they could have just ran over Leonard Floyd all that game. But
tight end and tackle, they block down. Tight end in the backfield, he short motions into kicks him out and knocks the hell out of him all game long.
And those adjustments piss me off, man. And it's weird. We're 5-2. Yeah, the Bears are 5-2. But I feel like they're a second half team. You know what I mean? Like a 5-2 team, that's pretty good in the first half. But I still feel like they're a second half team. If 5-2 feels like it's 2-5, and I hope that they could turn it around on offense. It has to be on offense. The defense is going to be consistent. We know that's the one consistent variable throughout this. The offense needs to be the one to make the change, and it starts with Matt Nagy. You know what? You've been here for 3 years, Coach. We get BU. We understand that to an extent, but maybe it's time to get away from being emotionally involved in the play calling and just focus on being the overall head coach of the football team.
We got to go. It's 3 hours is come and gone, Ivan. I know we could talk football for another 2 hours or 3 hours, but I want to thank my guests for coming on. Joseph Phillips for sitting in for part of this top of the morning segment. I want to thank my guest, Scott Merkin from MLB.com, who covers the White Sox. I want to thank Kenneth Davis for coming on. I want to thank Phil Atoshin. He is the draft doctor himself from the Tape Never Lies Network. Make sure you go follow him on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Okay, go follow the Tape Never Lies, TTNL Network. And then I want to thank you as well for making everything run smoothly. My guy, Ivan Vargas, I appreciate you big time. So listen, for my co-host in absentia, Maya Kai, and my guy, Ivan Vargas.
Check out the Barely Pregame Show on the Basement Monsters podcast on Sunday.
I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. We're going to take a 69-hour break. Okay, we'll see you on Monday. Same bad time, same bad channel, 9 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time. So until then, download the app, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow our Facebook page. Until then, we out.